We're here in Stanford, California, Game 4 of the Palo Alto NCAA Regional. And the matchup everyone's been waiting for. Jared Weaver, the #1 pitcher in the country. Mark Romancic of the Stanford Cardinal. Championship baseball is here. Will the Dirtbags continue their success as their flamethrower Jared Weaver takes the mound? Will Cardinal home cooking help the Bats provide fireworks? Can Long Beach State bag the top seed? We'll find out when the big boys come to play next. Coverage of the NCAA Baseball Championships, the Palo Alto region, here in Sunken Diamond Field, Stanford, California. The #1 Stanford Cardinal and #2 Long Beach State. Long Beach State survived St. John's with a run in the bottom of the 9th inning in Game 1. Then Stanford routed UNLV 10-4 in Game 2 with an offensive onslaught. Hi, everybody. Mike Crispino along with Steve Phillips, the former Michigan Wolverine, of course, former general manager of the New York Mets. We're here to see a great pitching duel. Jared Weaver, the #1 pitcher in the country, 6-time player of the week this year, and also 2-time All-American, has his work cut out for him against this Stanford Cardinal team.
Well, no question, but Long Beach State has it set up just the way they want it. They exercised the losing streak yesterday. They got rid of it, and now they have to take on their nemesis. Jared Weaver's the man. He's on board. He's going to go out there and try to lead his team to overcome Stanford, which has been a difficult task in the past for Long Beach State.
Weaver 14-1 on the season. The Cardinal hosting their 9th straight regional, hoping to get to the College World Series for a 6th straight time. And it's all offense these days for Stanford. Look out. They can beat you in a lot of different ways with their bats.
Well, it's not the typical Stanford team. It always used to be about pitching. Now it's about offense. Danny Putnam, their left fielder, their big slugger, 3-run homer last night, 2-run double. Tremendous offensive player leading a very, very potent Stanford offensive attack. Jared Weaver has his work cut out for him because the Stanford Cardinals can swing the bat.
And last year in a regional, a super regional, Danny Putnam 4 of 8 against Long Beach State pitching. He had 5 runs batted in. So the Easton keys to the game for Long Beach State had snapped a 7-game losing streak against St. John's as follows.
With the losing streak over, Long Beach State has to ride the big horse. Jared Weaver has to get the job done. He has to lead them and beat their nemesis Stanford. The other thing is, instead of location, it's offense, offense, offense. Long Beach State really struggles offensively. They struggle tremendously against left-hand pitching. Mark Romancic on the mound, the lefty for the Cardinal. He's going to go at him hard. Long Beach State has to find a way to score runs. The Stanford Cardinal, they have to get to Weaver early. They have to get out in front, try to add on runs. Romancic has to come out and try to match Weaver and match him pitch for pitch, run for run, and let that potent Stanford offense get the job done.
Long Beach State 206th in the country in scoring runs. They'll have to score enough to beat this powerful Stanford team beginning in just a moment. The starting lineups in the first pitch on CSTV.
This exclusive presentation of the NCAA Baseball Championship Regional on CSTV is brought to you by Easton. Play with it or against it.
Back in Stanford, California, we're set for Long Beach State and the Stanford Cardinal. The Long Beach State lineup from Mike Weathers, their coach. Looks like this. Steve Velasco had the game-winning hit against St. John's, gets the leadoff position, a right-hand hitter in center field. Danny Mockney at third, John Bowker in left, Troy Tulowitzki the shortstop. Jason Vargas, who pitched yesterday, will designated hit. Again, Brad Davis the catcher, Mike Hophius at first, Sean Boatwright in right, Chuck Sindlinger at second base. 3 lefties, and the rest right-handed hitters against Mark Romancic of Stanford.
Romancic, his bread and butter is changing speeds. He throws a pretty good fastball. His curveball is his best off-speed pitch, followed by a changeup. He's going to go right at him, but he has to keep the hitters off balance and dominate the lefties. The Long Beach State team does not hit left-handed pitching very well. 3 lefties in the lineup. They're 3 most potent hitters, so he has to dominate them, and he has to keep the bags off the bags. He has to keep the Long Beach Dirtbags off base. Do not let them try to advance because they're going to try to nickel and dime him to try to score the runs. So if he keeps them off the base, it's not going to happen.
An impressive first 2 years for this man, Mark Romancic. 23 wins, only 4 losses for the Stanford Cardinal. We're ready for the first pitch of this winner's bracket game here on CSTV, and the place is jam-packed. The excitement has been building the last couple of hours because everyone wants to see Jared Weaver. How good can he be against one of the best teams in the country. The ball grounded to third base, picked up quickly by Johnny Ash to throw on the first, and is 1 up and 1 down. Stanford defensively will feature that man Johnny Ash at third base. Chris Meinecker will be the shortstop. Jed Lowry at second. John Mayberry Jr. the first baseman. Danny Putnam in left. Sam Fuld, the 4-year senior in center. Brian Hall will be in right, and behind the plate Danny Lucy for the Stanford Cardinal, which comes in with 45 wins and only 12 losses. This is a team that has beaten a lot of teams by a lot of runs all year long. 35 of their first 45 wins, 36 of their 45 wins have come by 3 runs or more. So they're used to scoring runs, and they're used to winning big. Second hitter in the lineup will follow it off, Danny Mockney, the third baseman for Long Beach State. You couldn't ask for a more perfect day for a triple header here on CSTV. We will have St. John's and the loser of this game coming up a little bit later on. So stick with us throughout the day. CSTV's exclusive coverage of the regionals here on the NCAA Baseball Championships.
You know, we talk about how Stanford has dominated during the course of the year, 35 games by more than 3 runs. It's going to be interesting to see how they play in a close ball game because they haven't had a lot of experience in that.
Here's a pitch swung on and missed by Mockney. Danny Mockney, a junior, had a right hand injury this year. Missed 6 games, but back in the lineup on a regular basis now for Mike Weathers, who is just searching for some offense. This team, 95th in the country in batting average, just under 300. They're averaging 3 runs a game in terms of earned runs. So they have had the pitching. They haven't been able to score much, though. They're averaging just 5 runs a game. Here's the 2-2. Swung on, line down the left field corner, and that will get by Danny Putnam off the wall on 1 hop. Mockney running hard into second, and he's in with a stand-up double. Danny Mockney with the first base hit of the game, and it's an extra base hit.
Mockney on the 2-2 count here looked like he was looking for the breaking ball, got the pitch he wanted, stayed right behind the ball, and just drove it into left field. Mike Weathers was not happy with his offensive performance yesterday. He didn't like the at-bats that his players had. He didn't think they showed the patience. He attributed a lot of that to the emotions of the game and getting into it, but he wants a lot more patience, a lot more selectiveness at the plate and discipline so they can lay the bat on the ball.
John Bowker, the left fielder out of Sacramento, California, junior at the plate. A sophomore, rather. Bowker is a draft-eligible sophomore. He was redshirted as a freshman. And the left-handed hitter here against Romancic with a chance to plate the first run of the game. A 1-0 pitch coming. Down low, and a wild pitch. The runner advances. Mockney now to third base, and you can hear that there are some Long Beach State fans in the crowd here in Stanford.
Romancic throwing a breaking ball here. Ball hits in the dirt. Catcher tried to glove it. Lucy's got to get his body shifted over, get in front of that ball, and keep it there, particularly as far back as this backstop is here. We've seen it a couple times this weekend already. Ball's going to the backstop. We've seen runners take 2 bases. It's critical for the catcher to get in front and block that ball.
Now with 1 out and a runner at third, Bowker's chance with a fly ball to get the first run in the infield in on the grass. So you can see what Marquez thinks about Jared Weaver's ability. Stop a run, any run, even if it's early.
That's exactly what that message is right there. First inning, infield in a game like this. This is all about Jared Weaver right now.
Pitch swung on and fouled back. A 3-1 count, so on 3-0, got the green light. There's Weaver in the dugout. Unassuming, classy kid. Spent some time talking to him yesterday. But he's a competitor, as you will see in this one as it unfolds. Even when he isn't pitching, he's out hitting fungos and ground balls to his teammates. He's involved. So the 3-1 coming from Romancic to Bowker. Swung on, lined into center field, and off the glove of Sam Fuld all the way to the wall. Bowker running hard, and he'll be into second with what might be a double or might be an error because Fuld got his glove on it but couldn't make the play. It's 1-0 Long Beach State. Sam Fold might have been fooled a little bit by this one.
Here's Bowker. He got a good stroke on that ball. Outfielder got a slow reaction on that, if you can see it. Slow reaction. Actually took a bad angle, kind of a banana route to the ball right there. Reached out, couldn't quite get to it. If he had taken a much more direct route, that would have been a play he could make. Ball goes to the wall, and this right now is exactly what Long Beach State needs. Where offense is a question, they don't know what they're going to do. They're facing a lefty, which has been difficult for them all year long. A 6-8 record, as we said earlier. This is critical to get on the board early. All this does too is it lifts up Weaver right now. It makes Weaver feel so good about himself. They're on the board. He doesn't have to shut him out right now.
We talked about this Long Beach team and its lack of offense, and one of the keys to be on the offensive and have more offense, and so far so good for them.
Well, no question. And one of the things we said about Mark Romancic, he's got to keep the dirtbags off the bases because they have to kind of piece it together. You know, the wild pitch is a big advantage. That wild pitch, I think, is something that Long Beach State really needs. They need to take advantage and capitalize on mistakes by Stanford, and so far so good.
This is not the first time that Long Beach State has seen Mark Romancic. They faced him in the Super Regionals right here last year. Romancic with a win and 8 1/3 innings of pitching. Gave up 10 hits, 2 runs, struck out 2. The pitch is swung on and fouled off at the plate by Troy Tulowitzki, the shortstop. So Tulowitzki with an opportunity. 1 down and a runner at second, and Long Beach State with a run already to give the Dirtbags a second run.
You know, Stanford has really been the nemesis for Long Beach State. They have been in their head, and I've lived through that when I was with the Mets. The Atlanta Braves were our nemesis. We just couldn't figure out a way how to beat them. Getting out in front right now and trying to get some confidence for Long Beach State, a very good team where you wouldn't think confidence would be necessary, is a big advantage right now.
Pitch is on the inside corner for a strike, and the count goes to 1-2. Well, this is the 5th time Long Beach State has played in a regional here in Stanford since 1998. They are exactly 9-9 in those games. This is like a home away from home almost, except that Stanford's usually waiting at the end of that. Stanford's used this as a launching pad to get to the College World Series 3 times in the last 4 years. That pitch down low, and the count now 2-2.
Mike Weathers was one of the players he was very disappointed in at bats yesterday was Tulowitzki. He thought he was very anxious at the plate, trying to do too much. And one of the things they really wanted him to do was to be much more selective today. And he seems much more under control of his emotions today at the plate than he was yesterday.
Short lead at second. The pitch to Tulowitzki, lined through the hole into left field. Picked up quickly by Danny Putnam, and his throw to the infield holds the runner. But runners at first and third. Troy Tulowitzki's base hit sets up 2 runners on and 1 out here in the top of the first.
Tulowitzki stays back nicely on that ball and lets his hands do the talking here. He stays back. You can see it from the side here. Gets the hips and the hands through, just drives that ball out there. And that's a much different stroke and approach than yesterday. Yesterday, he was kind of jumping out of the ball, trying to make contact too far out in front of the plate. This time, he let the ball come into him. Very, very nice stroke.
Tulowitzki, whose average had dropped down to 306 with a base hit. And now Jason Vargas, the left-hand pitcher, who gutted it out against St. John's yesterday in a 4-3 win, has an opportunity to extend the early Long Beach State lead. Vargas, 5 homers, 32 runs batted in on the season. Swinging from the left side, one of 3 lefties in Mike Weathers' lineup. And Romancic trying to hold the runner at first. Now here's a situation with 1 down, runners at first and third. Might they move a runner, start a runner?
I think Long Beach State needs to do anything they can to try to keep this going and keep the momentum going. Right now, you have the big hole over at first base with Mayberry holding the runner on base. You might want to let Vargas pull it through the hole.
Takes a curveball, catches the outside corner for a strike. 0-1 to Jason Vargas. One thing, you know, the colleges don't keep stats on hitting against left-handers versus right-handers like the major leagues do. So I wonder if they get that information. Does Stanford find that out somehow through the Big
I think
West?
they have a pretty good sense that they struggle, and the record indicated that as well.
Vargas fouls that one off and out of play.
So far, Long Beach State isn't swinging the bat like they're intimidated by left-handers, though. I tell you, they're being very, very aggressive, yet they're waiting for a good pitch to hit. Interesting the way the infield is here. Now Stanford's playing the middle infielders, double play position. They're going to hopefully try to get a double play, and if they don't, then a run's going to score here.
You had a sense in talking to Long Beach State yesterday, before they beat St. John's, they're on a bit of a mission. They need to get by Stanford. They've been standing in their way the last several years, and this is something that they're geared up for. But they had come in with a 7-game losing streak before beating the Red Storm. And a pitch swung on and missed. He got Vargas.
Big breaking ball right there, got him. Up in his eyes a little bit. It looked pretty good to him when it was coming in, but he should have laid off it because it wasn't in the strike zone.
So 2 down, and that will bring Brad Davis, the catcher, to the plate. That pitch might have been up a little bit out of the strike zone, at least at the letters.
Started high, he pulled off of it a little bit. I think he saw it coming in and floating there, and I think he jumped out of his shoes thinking he was going to rip it through that big hole over there.
So Mark Romancic now 1 out away from getting out of further damage if he can get Brad Davis, the excellent catcher for the 49ers. He's a .328 hitter when the day began. 4 home runs, 36 runs batted in for the right-hand hitter. The runners lead from first and third, and the pitch is inside, ball 1.
Hey, this is a situation right here for Long Beach State. You want to try to make some things happen. Tulowitzki can run, he can steal a base. It would not be bad right now to try to get him going and stir something up. I don't know how Stanford would handle it, whether they throw the ball through or not, or just hold it and let him go there to get Davis out, but take a look here.
Long Beach State does not run very often. That ball peeled back and over our broadcast area, right behind the brand new broadcast center here at Stanford's sunken diamond field, built just a couple of years ago. Great place for college baseball, and every seat taken, a lot of standing room. Mostly Stanford Cardinal fans. Romancic sets and delivers, and that's on the outside corner for a strike.
Good pitch right there, a little change up away. But I tell you what, the Long Beach State, the other thing they've gotten done here is that they're making Romancic work. It's his 23rd pitch in the first inning. It's an awful lot of work. They've kept him on the field for a long time right now, and I think that that's a real advantage as well to keep the pressure on.
1-2 pitch coming with 2 down and runners at first and third. He spoils that one, fouls it back. Now there's a lost art in baseball today, 2-strike hitting, fouling a ball off. Most players these days on every level would rather take a cut and take their chances and take a strikeout for that matter.
You know, the 2-strike approach has gone by the wayside. You know, the two-strike approach where you want to cut down your swing, make some contact, put the ball in play, and at least make the defense make a play. Hitters right now still flail from their feet.
Davis stands in, but the throw goes to first instead. Romancic trying to keep the runner at first close. I mentioned Long Beach State does not run all that much. Tulowitzki at first has stolen 4 bases. That's the most in the starting lineup, and caught 6 times. Pitch outside. Count runs to 2-2.
Still, I'm surprised Long Beach State isn't starting the runner. I really think they have to take it to them, be aggressive. Mike Weathers sent a message to his team. They weren't here just to survive. They were here to try to win. And I think taking it to Stanford right now is exactly the way they go. They've got them on the heels. Go at them. 1
run in, 3 hits in the very first inning for Long Beach State. Romancic sets, slide step, foul back again. Long Beach State won a game against St. John's yesterday with 5 hits. They did that 4 times this year. They have won some games with very little offense. They've already got 3 hits in the first inning here against Mark Romancic.
But when you don't hit, it puts so much pressure on your pitching staff. And I think, you know, you really stop and look at how few runs they scored. This pitching staff has been phenomenal for them to go on and win 37 games this year.
Well, we mentioned they had lost 7 in a row before beating St. John's. Here comes the 2-2. Swung on and missed. He got him. So, Mark Romancic with back-to-back strikeouts escapes with only 1 run, 3 hits. There were 2 left at the top of the first. Long Beach State with a 1-0 lead over Stanford. Jared Weaver to take the mound for the bottom of the first. Welcome back to Stanford, California. Long Beach with a run on the top of the first, and Stanford to take their first hacks at it against Jared Weaver. And their lineup: Sam Fold in center field, Johnny Ash the third baseman, Jed Lowry at second, Danny Putnam the left fielder, John Mayberry Jr. at first, Brian Hall in right, Donnie Lucy is the catcher, Jeff Gilmore the designated hitter who pitched yesterday, and Chris Meinecker, the shortstop, will bat ninth for Mark Marquez. The scouting report on Jared Weaver: if you were a Stanford Cardinal hitter, here's what Weaver's got to do.
Well, I think the big thing for Weaver today, he has to be aggressive. He has to pitch inside. Last week he had a tough game against Miami. They hit a few home runs off him because he did not come inside and throw his good, hard, aggressive fastball. He has to establish the inside part of the plate today. The other thing is he has to have a #1 attitude. He is the stud. He has to be the stud today to lead his team. And especially, he has to show what he's made of. This is a day. It's easy to be a good pitcher. I mean, listen, you win 14 games in a row. You feel good about yourself. Things are going well. But right now, he's coming off of a tough game, and he's pitching in a very, very big game in a big setting. This is the day we find out what Jared Weaver's made of, what's inside of him, and what he's going to be in the future.
And that's what he does between innings before he takes the mound. Writes the names of his grandparents in the dirt, a couple that he respects greatly. So Jared Weaver set now to face Stanford, and Sam Fold here in the bottom of the first inning with a 1-0 lead. He fires a strike on the outside corner. And we were talking to Mike Weathers before the game yesterday, and we were asking about the velocity of Weaver. And earlier in the year we had heard he was, throwing in the 90s, mid-90s, and now down near 90 and a little below. So I would guess, and I'm going to ask you this, toward the end of the season, does velocity kind of drop off, just generally speaking, even on the college level?
I think typically it does. I think players get fatigued toward the end of the year. It does take a toll on them. I think in a setting like this, though, as important as this game is, you're going to see him hit the maximum, his ceiling of his velocity today with the energy that he has.
So the 0-2 coming to Sam Fold. Weaver fires high and inside for a ball, 1-2.
He's coming inside, though, already. I think that they've talked to him about it. Troy Buckley was in the hotel early this morning, saw him, and they told him they need him to be aggressive today.
Weaver 14-1, making his 18th start of the season. He's got 3 complete games. The 1-2 coming. Swung on and looped down the left field line on the run, and there to make the catch. And the first out of the bottom of the first, John Bowker. So Sam Fold out. Now time for a little visit with the third member of our broadcast crew, Scott Walker, standing by.
Mike, thank you. And you talked about Jared Weaver being an ace. This is his time. As good as he's been, the 2 biggest games of his career, he's been on the losing end of. The gold medal game in the Pan Am Games against Cuba, he pitched well, only gave up 2 runs, but he lost that game. Against Stanford, he only gave up 1 earned run last year, but the Dirtbags again ended their season as Sunken Diamond. The folks there at the beach, they say, look, he is going about his business without worrying about that Miami loss, but the key thing here is we're going to see the growth of a guy. Can he grow into being an ace? Can he grow into being that guy that's legitimately the #1 pick in the draft, guys?
All right, thanks very much, Scott. We know there are a number of scouts that have been here throughout the weekend waiting to see Weaver and others. This ball off Johnny Ash's bat looped into center field, and it's going to fall in for a base hit. He just got a piece of it off the end of the bat, and Johnny Ash is on with a bloop single with 1 down here in the first.
Velasco looked like he slipped right there in center field and just didn't get a jump on that ball at all and fell right in front of him.
Steve Velasco is the center fielder. John Bowker in left, Sean Boatwright in right, Danny Mockney, Troy Tulowitzki, Chuck Sinlinger, Mike Hofius around the infield. Brad Davis doing the catching for Jared Weaver, and yes, he is the brother of Jeff Weaver, pitching just south of here with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Looks a little bit like him physically, and in his stature, he looks like him as well. Not only facially, but his body makeup is about the same, it seems.
He does look a lot like his brother. His release point is a lot like his brother's as well in his pitching delivery.
So Weaver with a runner at first now. Gets set to pitch, and that ball is low. The hitter, Jed Lowry, one of the outstanding players in the country. Lowry, a sophomore from Salem, Oregon. Big fan of A-Rod, Brett Boone. This guy's a switch hitter. A lot of people looking at him as a potential high draft pick. The 1-0 coming from Weaver. Ash, not much of a threat to one. Ball outside for a ball 2.
Ash got his first stolen base yesterday.
I couldn't believe it.
And
I look at him and I say, he should have 10.
They obviously had a read on the left-handed pitcher yesterday on Voss for UNLV because they were all running yesterday. We'll see. Weaver has kind of a long stride to the plate. He has a pretty decent-sized turn back towards second base in his release here, so they might be able to get a jump off of him.
2-0 pitch coming. Outside, ball 3. So Weaver from the stretch. Now obviously concerned about the runner at first, Johnny Ash. This was something that came up in our game with Miami a couple weeks ago. Pitching from the stretch for someone like Weaver, a 6'7" guy. Got to think about the slide step and a little bit quicker delivery to the plate to keep people from running against him. So the 3-0 pitch, dude, here to Jed Lowry. And he's swinging, and he swings right through it, 3-1. So, surprised? Stanford going to go after him, 3-0.
Again, I think that's a sign of respect to Jared Weaver, that they have to take advantage of openings. A 3-0 count, they know what's coming, and they have their best hitter at the plate. I think they have to take advantage of every opening. If I'm Long Beach State, to me, that's got to empower you. It's got to make you feel good about yourself. They're respecting you.
3-1 coming with one down and a runner at first. Weaver throws over to first. Hophius puts a tag on him. So a quick move. He does have a quick move to first base. The question is the move to home plate with the runner on base. Weaver's had a phenomenal season. 193 strikeouts. Only 18 walks all year long. That, Steve, that's a 10-to-1 ratio.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good. Now we've got a pause in the action here. The umpire stepped out from behind the plate, kind of looked down at the third base coach, and looks like he's writing something down.
He is writing something down, but I don't know what. He's making a note.
He just remembered he forgot something at the store, I guess. And what's he doing?
Did he get a phone call in the middle of the at-bat?
He's writing something up.
That I want to find out about. Scott Walker will get on that, I'm sure. I don't think I've ever seen that.
That was interesting. Well, the
Honey,
third base
bring
coach
home
was
the milk.
Checking signs.
Don't forget the milk. Here's the 3-1. In there for a strike, 3-2.
Pretty good pitch right there. I'll tell you what, painting the black on the outside corner in a 3-1 count. Quality pitch. Good two-seam fastball running away. That ball just keeps moving off the corner of the plate. That's a quality pitch.
Great camera work from our crew here at CSTV in Stanford, California. Here's the payoff pitch. Runner's going. Swung on foul back at the plate. Davis couldn't hold on.
You don't see a swing like that from Lowry very often. I think he was just kind of fighting off a pitch. Again, a quality hitter at Jed Lowry. He had a two-strike approach right there. He cut down a swing. He was going to try to put it in play, advance the ball, and at least let the runner get to second base. Pretty good approach right there by Lowry.
So we'll have a payoff pitch one more time. Johnny Ash on the run, the 2004 Pac-10 Player of the Year, Jed Lowry at the plate. With one down, we're in the winner's bracket, the fourth game of our weekend coverage here on CSTV. And the 3-2 coming from Weaver. The runner goes again. It's swung on and hit high in the air. Troy Tulowitzki's got to get back after it, but the left fielder instead, John Bowker, in to make the catch. And Johnny Ash will retreat to first base. Tulowitzki had to cover second. That ball had a chance of dropping in, but Bowker got a good jump, and there are 2 outs.
Fortunately, the wind's carrying the ball a little bit further, because you're right, it looked like it started off as a pop-up to short, but I think there's enough of a breeze to carry it out to left field.
Danny Putnam is the hitter. First team preseason All-American, a junior. And Putnam had one great night against UNLV last night. I had a chance to take a look at him from behind the first base dugout area, and that's sometimes the best way to look at a hitter in terms of his bat speed, and he was quick. And he's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes either. So here he is against Jared Weaver with a runner at first. Weaver the throw over to first. Danny Putnam, Californian, a junior. Had 16 homers last year, has followed that up with the same kind of offense this year. 62 runs batted in. Weaver sets, fires, just misses on the outside corner.
Tell you what, Putnam did not get drafted out of high school. If I were still a general manager, I would be calling my Southern California scouting to say, what were we thinking about here?
Well, do baseball guys develop beyond high school in terms of that sort of skill levels? Do you see guys that don't really develop till they're juniors in college? I guess that happens. There's the throw over to first. Hopefully, made a nice stab to keep that from going into the right field corner.
Well, that definitely happens. I mean, I think it's shown that baseball players probably don't hit their prime in their career until they're 27 to 31 years old. There's a lot of growth and development that takes place through high school, through the college ranks, and into the minor leagues in baseball. So I think it does take some time.
So the 1-0 coming with 2 down here in the bottom of the first. Weaver sets. Now he delivers, and that is on the outside corner. He is determined to work the outside corner against Putnam, and now he's got the count even at 1-1.
I tell you, he's running that two-seam fastball, starting it right at the outside corner of the plate and running it off of the plate. And for the umpire, it looks like a strike, but for the hitter, by the time his back can get to that ball, particularly going the other way for a left-handed bat, it's beyond what he can reach.
Johnny Ash leads from first with 2 down, 1-0 Long Beach State. The pitch out, they throw down to first. Hophius puts a tag on. So Brad Davis, who shows no fear in throwing the ball from behind the plate, a la Ivan Rodriguez, who's the best I've ever seen at it.
I'll tell you what, it's interesting to throw a pitch out with Putnam at the plate to give him a 2-1 count now. To give him an extra pitch and put him in a better hitting situation. I'm not sure I do that. Ash only has 1 stolen base on the year. I think you've got to keep pumping strikes in there.
So Weaver sets again, the glove below the belt, and he throws over. Ash might have been leaning. Well, we started Friday with 64 teams around the country, hoping to earn an opportunity next weekend in a super regional, and then on to Omaha. LSU won their game. There have been some upsets, however, on this first weekend of the NCAA baseball regionals. And a curveball swung on and hit high down the line to right field, giving chase near the bullpen and dropping the ball as he falls into the bullpen. The right fielder, Sean Boatwright. He ran into the wall as he caught the ball and lost it. I think Boatwright's he's gonna want to have that one back. He had to go a long way, but the ball was in his glove.
Putnam got just underneath that ball and missed it, and he skied it up there pretty good. For Boatwright, you've got to get to the fence. He kind of drifted and kind of went right to the fence. He's got to sprint to the fence, get there and find it, and then try to worry about catching the ball.
Jared Weaver, who does react. He's not a total stoic.
I like that he's having fun out there right now, though. You know what? He's not uptight. He's having fun, and I think that's why he's going to perform.
2-2 with 2 outs coming to Putnam. And again, the throw over to first base.
We talked earlier about how is he going to respond and react from his game last week and come into a pretty big setting. I like what I see. He's going at guys, guy on base. He's working out of the stretch. He's got a pretty good rhythm to his approach, and he's having fun.
So Weaver, who is a deliberate pitcher with runners on base, set for the 2-2 one more time. And Putnam swings and misses. He gets him for the 3rd out of the inning. The first strikeout of the inning for Jared Weaver. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. 1 man left for Stanford. And Jared Weaver, the #1 pitcher in the country, off to a good start and a 1-0 lead through 1. Able to get Danny Putnam. That one was maybe outside the strike zone. The big man off to a good start for the Dirtbags, calling on every possible piece of superstition. We'll be back with more on CSTV. Thanks very much, Adam. And of course, here in California, where Ronald Reagan was the governor and then went on to be president, there was a moment of silence before the beginning of this game. A huge sports fan. In an era when sports was virtually untelevised, Reagan was kind of the voice of sports in some ways, turning game stories into play-by-play. And the leadoff man, Mike Hophius, floats one into center field. It's going to drop in front of Sam Full that came off the inside of his bat. As Romancic busted him in, but It's a base hit for Mike Hofius.
You know, Hofius kind of fought one off here. He got a pitch inside, just kind of got a jam shot, kind of blooped it in there. And again, not a great jump in center field. You know, I think that Fold just didn't quite get the same jump there. And again, he's a 4-year starter here in center field. I think it's his 251st game as a Cardinal in center field. And you know, he knows this center field as well as anybody can know center field. I'm surprised he's had a couple balls he hasn't had great jumps on.
Well, it is day baseball. It's a little different than night baseball here. We sat through all the games yesterday, the doubleheader, and there'll be 3 today. I just think it looks different, having played some center field myself. When the ball comes off the bat, sometimes you don't quite get the distance factor, you know, set in your vision immediately. Dayside. Romancic throws over to try to keep Hofius close. At any rate, the leadoff man on for Long Beach State. Stanford, one of 5 Pac-10 teams to get into the NCAA tournament, hosting a regional. Romancic goes with that slide step, hot shot, one hop off the chest, and into center field it goes. Chris Meinecker couldn't handle it, tried to smother it, and we'll see how they rule that one. That is going to be an error on the shortstop. So on at first on the error by the shortstop is Sean Boatwright.
Kind of looked like he hit it off the end of the bat. It looked like it was hit, sounded like it was hit harder than it was, and it kind of short hopped him a little bit, played it off his chest. This is not typical of Stanford baseball right now. They had a wild pitch in the first inning, an error right here. Long Beach State has to capitalize on these opportunities because you don't often get them against the Cardinal, and you really have to capitalize on them when you do. Interestingly, they have 3 left-handed hitters in the lineup against Long Beach State. 2 of them have base hits so far, and again, another big key because they do not tend to hit well against lefties.
Well, the hitter is the number 9 man in the order. Chuck Sindlinger sets to bunt and then pulls the bat back. I was going to ask you, here you are first and second early in the game with nobody out. Do you give up the out and try to get the runners in scoring position? Oh,
absolutely. I think Singler is not a real strong offensive threat. I think you've got to move the runners over, get 2 guys in scoring position, and try to play for a big inning right now, you know, considering that he's not the big offensive threat.
So 1-0, Romancic, bunt down the first base line. Mayberry fields, tags the man, but the runners move up on the sacrifice bunt. So Chuck Sindlinger does a nice job, and the Long Beach State bench out to congratulate him. Runners at second and third with 1 down.
Quality execution, that's very important in these kind of situations. We've seen some very good bunting all weekend here at Palo Alto Regional, and here he is, squares around, good plate coverage with the bat. Again, quality job. Bat at the top of the strike zone. So you don't start down and bring it up to get the ball at the top of the strike zone. So he got on top of the ball, nice angle to get it down, bunt it to first base. Again, a lot of times you want, with a man at first and second, you want to bunt the ball to third so the third baseman has to commit. They don't have a play. You can bunt it to first if you get it right down the baseline, which is what he did.
Well, the hitter's the leadoff man, Steve Velasco, had the game winner against St. John's in the 9th inning yesterday. He takes a strike, 0-1. Runners at second and third with 1 down. Long Beach State's 49ers with a 1-0 lead over their nemesis, the Stanford Cardinal. And you know, you'll be shocked to hear this, but Smarty Jones did not win. Did not win the Belmont, did not win the Triple Crown when everyone thought he would. Velasco cuts and misses. The count goes to 0-2. How did that happen?
Muddy track. I think they had some rain there and a little muddy track and couldn't get it done.
I'm telling you, Belmont is the toughest race to win for thoroughbreds. Just the toughest, the longest, and there's something about that track. Here's the 0-2. 1 down. Way high. And the stab made by Donnie Lucy. Well, here's a gentleman that's been to a few races. He's all set, got the sunglasses and the straw hat. We've got to get straw hats before we leave.
That's the Lone Ranger right there, isn't it?
We've got to get a straw. See, that's the way to sit in the sun, right there.
That's the California look right there.
You came without a hat. You barely brought your sunglasses, and now we've got 3 days of glorious sunshine. The 1-2, Velasco pops it up in shallow right field in Bryan Hall. The runner's tagging. The runner will not go. Hall's throw is right on the money. Cut off by Mayberry. So Velasco hit a fly ball but didn't get it deep enough. Well, we want to welcome our viewers watching us in high definition here on CSTV for the NCAA Regional Championship from Palo Alto. We certainly appreciate you jumping aboard with us. And this is the kind of broadcast that you could really enjoy, because to me baseball is maybe the best of the sports in high definition television. It gives you a perspective that you just don't get unless you're actually there. That's the beauty of it. So 2 down. Runners remain at second and third. The hitter Danny Mockney, who doubled and scored in the first inning. Mockney chops one slowly towards second base. Jed Lowry in to throw to first, and Romancic's out of the trouble again. 2 men on to lead it off. Romancic gets out with no trouble. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left through 1.5. Long Beach State 1, Stanford 0.
Get in your car and come to Sunken Diamond, where you can see Stanford down 1-0 to Long Beach State here, the Palo Alto Regional of the NCAA Baseball Championships. I'm Scott Walker back with you. You know what's interesting, there's so many sports here on the farm, so many quality athletes. We have one of them here with us. Tara Kirk is a world record holder in the 100-meter breaststroke. She's a swimmer, an 11-time NCAA champion, and she will be looking to go to the Olympics in Athens coming up in later this summer. Tara, thanks for joining us. And first off, there were so many people: Summer Sanders, Jenny Thompson, Janet Evans, all of them that came here. What is it like to kind of be part of that lineage and be one of the successful Stanford swimmers?
Stanford has a great legacy, and I think it really helps all of us, the younger swimmers who come to the farm, really kind of work hard to keep up that legacy.
As you look now at your chance to go to Athens, and the Olympic trials are coming up in July, how do you make sure that in a situation where it's one and done, you can just make sure to stay patient and really race your race?
Well, trials and the Olympics are definitely going to be a little bit stressful, but you know, I think that I have some experience from, you know, college swimming and from international swimming in the past that is going to really help me kind of stay calm and swim my race.
Going in as the world record holder in the 100-meter breaststroke, do you feel confidence now that no one has ever swum that distance faster than you? Is there pressure? How do you approach that?
Having the world record definitely gives me confidence, but trials and the Olympics, anything can happen. So, you know, I'm still training hard.
The facilities here, obviously, so many great swimmers have come here. Richard Quick has been a 3-time national team coach. What does it mean to have trained here under one of the best?
Well, when I came to Stanford, I was so in awe. I was thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to come swim for a legend. And, you know, Richard's human, and he's a great guy, and he's a great coach, and I think he's really helped me mature as a swimmer.
Well, Tara Kirk, one of the people that you can watch in the Olympics come this summer. Tara, thanks for joining us. Guys, back up to you.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Tara. John Mayberry Jr. grounds out to the second baseman, Chuck Simlinger. He got busted inside by Jared Weaver. A jam shot out to second base, and there's one away.
Boy, that's tough. Weaver threw about 3 fastballs on the outside corner, 2 seamers running away and away. Mayberry thought, I'm going to go out there and try to go get one of those, and then he busted him down and in with a 2-seamer off his shins, and all he could do was just try to nub it out to second base. Weaver is really on his game so far.
One thing I think about when I look at Jared Weaver and his ability as a college pitcher, you think of some of the guys who have succeeded on the major league level with maybe less talent than he has. When you learn how to pitch, a lot of things become easier. And I think of a guy like Jimmy Key, for instance, with Toronto and then with the Yankees. He didn't have a lot of stuff when he got to New York, but inside, outside, up, down in the strike zone, keeping hitters guessing and keeping hitters off balance is a big part of getting people out. Here comes the 0-1. That pitch is just inside.
You know, what's interesting with Weaver is that he has some powerful stuff. And yet his command, you know, typically the command guys, the control pitchers, are the soft tossers that need to hit their spots. It's not often a power pitcher like this really hits his spots and locates as well as he does.
Brian Hall, the right fielder, with the count even at 1-1. That pitch is high, 2-1. So Jared Weaver behind in the count. This is what happened to him in Miami. He got a little bit behind in counts too often, and the Hurricanes finally, by midway in the game, were able to tee off a couple times and hand him his first loss of the year. Now he winds and pitches, and that's in there for a strike. Now, if you're sitting in the stands, and you've got one of those contraptions in your hand, you must have a job somewhere.
Either that or you just want to get in free. You're walking with a radar gun.
Fans, are they?
Bring a radar gun, get in free day.
Why didn't we try that? How accurate are those things? We'll have time for that discussion as we go on here. That pitch is up high, and the count runs full to 3-2. People will tell you can't trust these things.
Well, I think it depends on the gun, but I think for the most part, it doesn't matter if you're using the same gun, you get a sense of how consistent he is with his velocity, which is about just as important as how hard he is throwing, is how frequently can he throw at the same velocity.
He delivers, and he catches the outside corner. Brian Hall is out of there for the second out, and Hall has a few words for the home plate umpire, Tony Mainers.
Tell you what, that was a pretty darn good pitch. A two-seam fastball away, he tails it back in there. He threw him 4-5 fastballs in that at bat, and he cut it loose. There's the first one, down and away. Little slide piece going in there off the plate. Fastball up and away. Another fastball down and away. It's a pretty good pitch. Up, little ball, a little high. Same spot out there. With Weaver, he has that two-seam fastball. Gets a lot of action on that pitch, and what he does is you can start it kind of a backdoor two-seam fastball. It's a Greg Maddux type movement on the pitch. Weaver throws much harder. You start it off the plate and let it kind of tail back in off the corner. Very difficult for a hitter because you give up on that pitch before it gets to the catcher.
Donnie Lucy, the hitter, with 2 down, nobody on. In a 1-0 game in the bottom of the second inning. Weaver fires, and Lucy swings and misses. He has a delivery that will get you out of your rhythm.
He really turns his body towards second base, kind of like a little bit like Louis Tiant, though he's much bigger. But it really adds to his deception. You've got arms and legs and hair coming at you at the plate, and it's very difficult to pick up the ball.
So the 0-2 coming to Lucy, and that one's way high.
His delivery isn't one that you typically teach a kid. You wouldn't say, hey, how about if you spin your body way around and kind of come flying back over there? But
so you don't use that in your Little League team?
You don't. But, it works for him. And the challenge is going to be when he's in professional baseball, they have to leave him alone. It works for him. You can't clone guys. You have to leave his delivery, let him work, and kind of fine-tune from there.
And he gets Lucy to end the second inning. 3 strikeouts already for Jared Weaver. He's 3 short of 200. He'd be the 15th man to do that. Long Beach State with a 1-0 lead through 2, riding the right shoulder of Jared Weaver. Back with more from Palo Alto on CSTV. Welcome back to NCAA college baseball coverage on CSTV, the Palo Alto region. First time national coverage by College Sports Television. Mike Crispino, Steve Phillips with you. All weekend long we'll be bringing you college baseball presented by Easton, the NCAA Baseball Championship region, right here from Sunken Diamond Stadium. Every team has its sights set on advancing to the Super Regional. Only one will make that step. The road to Omaha continues tonight at 10 on College Sports TV. Number 1 in college sports. It's a weekend of NCAA Baseball Championship Regionals on CSTV. So we go to the top of the third inning in a 1-0 game. John Bowker, who doubled and drove in the only run of the game, is at the plate for Long Beach State. Long Beach State has been to 4 College World Series. The last one coming in '98. Just reached the Super Regionals last year. And the thing about this Long Beach State program that a lot of people do know, especially here in California, since '93, 89 of their players have gone to the pros. So they have developed some major league level talent. Romancic throws a curveball, and it's fouled off at the plate.
Well, Bowker doubled in the first inning to deep center field off Folt's glove, off a high fastball, so he's not going to see another one of those pitches. That's the second big breaking ball he's seen, and the way he swung at that, I don't think Romancic should throw him a fastball here at all. I think he's got to go right back to the breaking ball. Set up pitch, absolutely right. Comes inside, Dustin pushes him back off the plate. Now I think he'll go down and away a little. Keep him, you come up inside, you tell the hitter, don't go diving out to the outer part of the plate. You're sending a message there, and then you lay one on the outside corner.
Sophomore Bowker facing a 2-2 count. That one high and tight. And back to the screen it goes. Well, Baseball America was all over Bowker early before he even got to Long Beach State. They made him a freshman All-America candidate. Comes from a family of tennis playing parents. One went to Lewis and Clark, the other to Sacramento State. You find that an awful lot with these college baseball athletes from families full of athletes. Here's the pitch. Curveball popped up in the air straight behind the plate. Danny Lucy is under and makes the catch for the first out. Plenty of room in foul territory here at Sunken Diamond Field, and there's one away in the top of the third.
You know, you're right. You do see a lot of the tendency to have a lot of these athletes have family that have been in some sort of sports, whether it's at the collegiate level or professional level, you know, whether it's tennis or football or basketball or baseball. A lot of these guys have the genes. And a lot of times with the Mets, we've talked about scouting parents as much as scouting kids. Well, you know, most for athletic ability, but also for makeup. I think if you find good parents, you tend to find good kids. And I think Mark Marquis has done a heck of a job in doing that here at Stanford.
Troy Tulowitzki, the shortstop, hits the ball hard to right field. Back it goes, up, and away, home run! Troy Tulowitzki has given Long Beach State a 2-0 lead as he goes yard.
Well, that's big for Long Beach State, and that's big for Tulowitzki. They had a long conversation with him about his at-bats yesterday. And you know what? Coachable young man. Every year he's gotten better. He's focused on that offense. A lot of comparisons with Bobby Crosby, the former dirtbag shortstop. And this guy's offense, if it comes, he's a very, very good prospect. Pitch up and away. He stayed back, let it come to him. He wasn't jumping out there, laid a great swing on it. Good rotation. This is a strong young man right here. You look at that body on him. He's a big kid, and he can pick it defensively. And if that bat keeps coming, he is going to be some kind of player you're going to keep hearing about in the future.
That's just his 4th home run of the season. Only the 30th by Long Beach State all year. They're playing in their 57th game with aluminum bats. So they have not produced an awful lot of home runs. But as we saw with St. John's in the last 2 days, another team that hadn't hit any home runs all year, maybe there's something about playing here at Stanford.
Well, a lot of hitting in this ballpark, there's no question. And, you know, Blair Field, where Long Beach State plays, is not a hitter's park. It's a pitcher's ballpark. And, you know, the numbers seem to reflect that, just like where UNLV played. It's a hitter's park, and the ERAs are inflated. But this is a hitter's ballpark, too, and they're taking advantage of it.
Jason Vargas struck out his first time up, and he fouls one down the left field line over the bullpen area. Now, here at Sunken Diamond Field is a great area where you can put up your beach chairs down those lines. That has got to be the best place to watch a baseball game, maybe in the country.
Can we watch the game?
Can we do the game from there? That is a look at the 335 mark down the left field line. 335 down the lines, 400 to dead center, and about 365 to the gaps. Vargas takes outside. Count 1 and 2, but you bring a beach chair and you sit out there. It just feels like you're at home, you know, on the couch. And in the sun, you add that together with a little lemonade over ice. I'll sit through 3 games.
Oh, you're getting me thirsty here.
I'll sit through 4 games. And Vargas swings and misses, down on strikes for a second time. That is the 3rd strikeout for Romancic.
Well, they have the scouting report right on Vargas. I think that they've shown him some fastballs out of the strike zone, and they come back in with a breaking ball. And it's the 2nd time they've gotten him to chase that a little bit. And both times he's kind of pulled off it, trying to jerk it to the right side. He has to stay back, let that ball come into the strike zone, and start thinking about hitting it over the shortstop's head. 39
strikeouts on the year by Vargas. Only John Bowker has struck out more times. Here's Brad Davis, the catcher. He struck out the first time at the plate in the 1st inning. 2 down in a 2-0 game. 1 run in on the home run from Troy Tulowitzki to the opposite field. Here in the 3rd inning. The winner's bracket of the Palo Alto region. Davis chops it to 3rd base. The play made by Johnny Ash. The long throw over. Mayberry makes the play, and that ends the inning. 1 run on 1 hit for Long Beach State. Through 2.5, they've got the lead of 2-0, and they can thank Troy Tulowitzki for his power and that 2-run lead. We'll be back with more on CSTV. Welcome back to Sunken Diamond Field here in Stanford, California. Long Beach State with a 2-0 lead over the Stanford Cardinal, the #1 seed. A lot of people think the #1 team in the country, depending on what poll you look at. Texas was seeded #1 in this tournament. They have been to 30 College World Series. Miami's been to 32 in a row. They're still in it. Florida State 27 in a row. And Stanford establishing the same kind of record, trying to get to the College World Series for a 6th straight time. They haven't had success winning it. They were bridesmaids 3 times since 2000. It's time to take the shirts off, Steve. It's getting that hot. We're in mid to late afternoon in California.
Can I leave the tie on?
Yeah, if you want to. So we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning, a check swing and a strike call against Chris Carter, who is the designated hitter. Mark Marquez likes to set a lineup without somebody really as a designated hitter, just throwing any pitcher in there until he gets down to this part in the order and decides what he wants to do. Kind of a quirky lineup thing that he does. That pitch fouled back into the screen. So Chris Carter behind in the count to Jared Weaver 0-2. Now, we haven't seen Weaver throw a lot of sliders. Haven't seen him throw many curves. We haven't seen him throw a changeup, I don't think. Might we see one here? He winds and delivers. And that ball's hit high in the air to dead center field. Steve Velasco waving everyone off. He's under it. And there's one away.
You know, you're right. It's interesting. He's going with a lot of those fastballs so far, but I think that we're just now getting through the lineup for the first time, and I suspect as we go through the lineup into the end of the 3rd inning here into the 4th and 5th innings, you're going to see him start to mix his pitches around a little bit more. But he's established the fastball, established that 2-seam fastball to the outside part of the plate, come in when he needed to, and I think he's doing it exactly the way he should. But I think we will start to see the breaking ball here very soon.
So the hitter, Chris Meinecker, the shortstop, as Weaver sets to deliver, and he throws high, ball 1. All right, we're going to take a chance to listen into the Stanford Cardinal radio broadcast of this game. KZSU.
The second time to the lineup, and really right now, before Meinecker, only one guy has reached, and that was Johnny Ash in a little bloop single, so they're going to have to make adjustments.
Meinecker waiting. Here's the 1-0. Weaver fires it at the knees and a little bit off the plate, but it's still a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike now. Meinecker, the #9 guy. He had kind of split time with Adam Sorgi early on in the year, but has since then cemented himself as the everyday shortstop. 1-1 pitch. Meinecker gives this a charge to left center field. Going back on it is Bowker. This one bounces and will go to the wall. Meinecker rounds first. He's chugging for second. Bowker picks it up right under the NCAA sign and gets it back in. Chris Meinecker, a solidly struck double. And the Stanford Cardinal now have a runner in scoring position.
Well, there's the offensive contribution from the unexpected sources. Stanford goes 1 through 8. Their 8 best hitters not able to do much against Jared Weaver, and their Meinecker giving a solid shot to that, and has himself at second base at the top of the order coming up, trying to bring him home.
You know, Meinecker's average isn't very good, but he is really sometimes prone to putting good swings on pitches, and we saw it at UCLA, and here we see it at Sunken Diamond. Meinecker smacking that one into left center.
He's really been hitting the ball harder as of late. We've seen him in batting practice in the last few games, really lining balls around the yard. They're putting that one in the left center.
Now time is called as Davis goes out to talk to Weaver a little bit. Sam Fuld, now the leadoff man. He will try to bring home Chris Meinecker. Fuld popped out to left his first time up. It was shallow fly out there, gloved by John Bowker. Dean Stotts, Stanford's third base coach. Dave Nakama, Stanford's first base coach. Both keeping an eye on Tulowitzki and Sidlinger so that Meinecker doesn't get picked off. First pitch breaking ball from Weaver's a little bit high. 1 ball and no strikes here to Sam Fuld. Fuld, one of the better postseason performers in Stanford history. A .307 career postseason average. 33 runs scored, 21 knocked in 35 postseason games. Heading up to this one. Here Weaver sets. Throws 1-0, fastball, Fuld swings and misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1, one down. Johnny Ash on deck, Jed Lowry in the hole. They both want a chance to hit here in this third inning. Stanford trying to cut into this 2-0 Long Beach lead. Tulowitzki behind Meinecker, trying to play games with Stanford's base runners. The 1-1 pitch is looped into shallow left. Coming on is Bowker. It's going to fall in front of him. Dean Stotts waving Meinecker home. Bowker's got it. The throw to the plate is cut off, and it's 2-1. The Stanford Cardinal are on the board. An RBI base hit for Sam Fuld.
And right there, an impressive piece of hitting from Sam Fuld. And Sam Fuld lining that one over the head of the shortstop. Coming in to score there was Chris Meinecker, getting back-to-back hits from the 9-1 hitters. The two guys in the lineup with the lowest average, but doing the most production so far early on here today.
Meinecker moving on contact as that ball had real bloop potential on it. Falls in front of Bowker. Bowker threw the ball. It might have had a chance to get Meinecker, but was a little too much up the line. So now it's 2-1. The Cardinal gotten off the snide. Still only one out. Fuld at first base, and Johnny Ash the hitter. Weaver comes set.
KZSU's broadcast, Sam Stefanski and Mike Etcheperry, letting you know what it looks like from the Stanford perspective.
You know, Fuld went down and got that pitch a little bit. The ball was kind of down and away. It was a pretty good pitcher's pitch. He just kind of reached out and poked it to left field.
So the hitter Johnny Ash with a runner at first and one down, a 2-1 ball game, and Weaver throws the first changeup to even the count at 1-1. Hey, those guys were pretty good.
They were pretty good.
Well, they're Stanford guys.
Yeah, that's true.
They're gotta be good at anything
smart,
they do,
too.
right?
They're smarter than we are, aren't they?
Of course they are. I don't know. You always told me Michigan was, you know, quite a school to go
Michigan
to.
is quite a school to go
educational
to.
institution.
Absolutely, it really
But then
is.
again, they let you in.
Well,
so think about that.
It tells you a lot about me.
Well, we try to do that wherever we go with CSTV's College Baseball, bring you a little flavor of the local broadcast, and it's interesting to hear. I know here in California, the trips we've made, the level of interest and certainly the quality of the broadcasts and how fired up the fans get for California colleges and baseball is just tremendous. 1-1 pitch coming from Jared Weaver, one down. And a runner at first, and Weaver blows it by inside on Johnny Ash to get ahead in the count 1-2. Scott Walker is a man who went to Stanford. I know he must have an interesting story on how he started his career. What do you think, Scott?
Well, yeah, absolutely. What do you think I did? What Sam and those guys were doing at KZSU, that's exactly where I got my start, Steve. So, you know, when you get walked off the baseball team and the coaches say, son, you need to find something else to do with your life, KZSU is the place to go and see a good career can come from just what you just heard, guys.
All right, so the high-paying jobs here at Stanford certainly helped catapult Scott Walker's career.
I see how it works. You get walked off the baseball team, and then you get a microphone, and you get to criticize the baseball team.
There's one of the antennas that the signal from KZSU comes from. Well, I didn't get walked off. I just got a note, and I got called down to the office. But I got through 1 year, at least that. All right, Weaver 2-2 with one down now to Johnny Ash, but he throws to first instead to hold Sam Fuld on.
Weaver's doing a good job holding the runners. I tell you what, for a big guy, he has pretty quick feet, shows a lot of athletic ability out there. And you know, I like the way he's got his focus on the base runner, but now he's got to come back and try to make a big pitch here, keeping the ball away so he doesn't give Ash the opportunity to pull it through the big hole over there at first base.
Fuld has 8 stolen bases in 13 attempts, second on the team. Weaver the 2-2 coming. And that just misses on the outside corner, and he had a little bit of a question that time.
He went away, as we said, to try to keep it so he couldn't hook it through the hole. Two-seamer ran away. Close pitch. Close pitch. Sometimes you get him, sometimes you don't. But I'd much rather see him just take the ball, get back up the mound, and throw another ace at him instead of staring in there. He's not going to change the call.
So the payoff pitch coming now to Johnny Ash. Weaver sets. The runner goes. The pitch is outside, ball 4. So runners at first and second with one down here in the bottom of the third inning with 1 run in. So Ash able to work a walk against Jared Weaver, and not many have been able to do that this year. As I mentioned earlier, Weaver 18 walks all season long. 193 strikeouts coming into this one. He's added 3 more, so he's at 196. Troy Buckley coming out to talk to Weaver with runners at first and second, and 1 down here early in this one. Well, the top 8 seeds coming in were outstanding teams all. In fact, 38 of the 64 from last year returning in 03. Texas, South Carolina had an outstanding year. Miami, which is a perennial challenger. Georgia Tech and Atlanta, where Jim Morris left to go to Miami, maintaining their excellence. Stanford, of course, where we are. Rice, the defending national champs. Arizona State lost a first-round game, so they're going to have to come out of the losers bracket. And Arkansas, which has one of the best baseball diamonds in all the country, seeded 8th in this NCAA baseball championship. There are a lot of, first-timers. 3 first-time at-large bids got into this tournament. Birmingham Southern, College of Charleston, UC Irvine. 5 first-time automatic bids as well. Stony Brook, St. Bonaventure, Youngstown, Jacksonville State, Texas Southern. The first-time experience of the NCAA baseball championship. So Weaver's got to get out of a bit of a jam here with 1 down. And the hitter, Jed Lowry. That pitch is out of the strike zone, ball 1. So the Cardinals sensing that Weaver struggling a little here in the 3rd inning.
They're all looking to get out there. The umpire just came down the 3rd baseline and said, guys, back up a little bit over there.
You can see the artificial turf right below them is really the dugout. You cannot make a catch on that turf. You can get 1 foot up on it if you're in the dugout as a member of the team in that dugout. So 1-0 is the count to Jed Lowry, dangerous second baseman. Weaver sets, runners lead from first and second. Modest leads, and the curveball is outside, ball 2.
Right now, Weaver seems to be kind of trying to bring in the off-speed stuff a little bit, but he doesn't have a real good feel for it. He's got to get himself back under control. I like that he's stepped behind the mound here, trying to get himself put back together. The Stanford offense scored an awful lot of runs this year. 484 in the 3rd inning has been the big inning for them all year long. They've scored 79 of their 484 runs in the 3rd inning, and again, it's typically the 2nd time through the lineup.
Jed Lowry, a .411 hitter on the season. Fly to left his first time up. And that pitch misses. 3-0. On deck, Danny Putnam, who struck out his first time up, but he's a .394 hitter. Both of these players, Lowry and Putnam, leading the way with 16 homers each. Stanford has 91 home runs on the season. 3-0. All right, your Marquez, you give him the green light.
You've got your stud on deck with Putnam with a big day yesterday, followed by Mabry. I let him take right here. I think he did swing early in the game, though. 3-0. Lowry did.
Weaver delivers, and that's in for a strike. 3-1.
Weaver needs to come back right here. He's got to try to get a ball put play, get an out right here, because he does not want bases loaded with Lowry coming up, or with Putnam coming up.
Well, the 49er pitching staff has had trouble keeping the ball in the park lately. Giving up 11 homers in the last 5 games. Weaver's certainly can't afford that, knowing how little his Long Beach team scores for him, and holding to a slim 2-1 lead. Set for the 3-1 delivery from Jared Weaver. Swung on and fouled back into the screen. Lowry a little bit late there, so the count runs full at 3-2.
Be interesting to see if they start the runners right here. Good contact hitter, doesn't strike out a lot. Good discipline at the plate. Start the runners here. You might end up hitting the ball a little bit in the gap and be able to score 2. They're playing behind the runner. They're not really paying any attention to the guy at second base right now.
Lowry, who's had 19 doubles on the season, 90 hits, second on the team, has a 3-2 pitch facing him from Jared Weaver. Weaver taking his time. He really slows down when he goes to the stretch. And now timeout called.
Well, we talked to Mike Weathers yesterday. They call the pitches from the dugout, and I think that they say the pitcher has the right to shake it off, but that takes time if in fact that's what's happening.
Here's the pitch. The runners are going. The pitch is outside, ball 4. Oh, is it a strikeout? Wow, late call. Lowry was headed down the first baseline when he was called out for the second out of the inning.
Well, that's a break, it looked like to me, for Weaver right there. That ball looked up and away a little bit. Runners were moving. Here's the pitch, two-seamer running away there. Hard to tell, looked like a little bit off the plate. Weaver delivers it. You see the runners going. Boy, that could have been huge. A strikeout, throw him out, double play right there. You talk about a momentum shift. Even so, the strikeout was big. Now you've got Putnam. You got to be very, very careful here. You do have an open base at first base. I'd have to strongly consider pitching around this guy a little bit and going at Mabry, even though he's a big threat.
Well, Mabry is a right-hand hitter. He's on deck with runners at second and third. Right side of the infield, well back. The pitch outside to Danny Putnam. Putnam is one of the guys who helped the Cardinal to a .524 slugging percentage this year. .524. That's pretty impressive. I know you pay attention to that number.
Woo! I tell you what, this guy can swing the bat. He's been likened to Brian Giles, the San Diego Padre now, and small little guy with an awful lot of pop in his bat.
Weaver sets. The 1-0 coming. That one is swung on and missed. Looks like he turned it over a little bit.
A little bit, you know, that two-seam fastball. But I tell you what, he's going right at these guys with his fastball. I mean, he's just saying, all right, it's my power against yours right now. And not a lot of finesse. In fact, earlier in the inning, when he did try to mix in some of the off-speed stuff, he didn't have a feel for it. He got away from it. He's going back to what he's comfortable with and what he has some command of right now.
Weaver fires, and that one's fouled back. So the count 1-2 now with two down. The runners at second and third in a 2-1 game. Long Beach State on top. As Jared Weaver gets a new baseball. Long Beach State that just snapped a 7-game losing streak yesterday against St. John's in the opener of this regional. Now trying to beat the #1 seed here today. 4 of those losses in that stretch, all by 1 run. They play a lot of close games. Here's the 1-2 from Weaver. Swung on, foul back, and out of play. So Putnam hanging in. Right side of the infield, way back on the grass. Tulowitzki at short, way back as well.
You know, he's throwing a lot of two-seam fastballs away right here, and they've got the middle of the field wide open. Tulowitzki's playing, shading him to left field, but on the right side, Singlinger is playing him to pull. He's got the whole middle of the infield wide open right there. They're throwing him away. To me, they ought to be defending him away.
Outfield straight away. As the bluff from third base comes, that pitch is way up high. Count even at 2-2. So Weaver, who had very little difficulty in the opening 2 innings, allowing 1 hit, striking out 3, has allowed a couple of hits, 1 extra base hit, a walk, struck out his 4th hitter, and now trying to get Danny Putnam, the cleanup man, for Stanford. 2-2 is the count with 2 down in the bottom of the 3rd inning. This is CSTV's coverage of the NCAA Baseball Regionals. Brought to you by Easton. We're glad you could join us. Now Weaver set to deliver 2-2. Swung on, off the fist. Tulowitzki giving chase into center field, and he will get there to make the play and end the inning. Danny Putnam retired with 2 runners in scoring position, and Long Beach State escapes with a 2-1 advantage through 3 innings. Jared Weaver, who plays powerhouse right-hander and plays cheerleader as well for the Dirtbags. They lead 2-1 after 3. Out in San Francisco Bay, Alcatraz, not far from here. We're in Palo Alto, just south of Oakland. Long Beach State leading Stanford 2-1 through 3 innings, and the Long Beach State Dirtbags had only 5 hits against St. John's. The last one coming in the bottom of the 9th inning to give them a 4-3 win. Today, 5 hits through 3 innings. This is a veritable offensive onslaught for the Dirtbags with their best pitcher going, Jared Weaver. Mike Crispino, Steve Phillips, and we're joined by Kevin Stocker, who's along with us throughout the regionals to cover these games. as Long Beach State leads off Mike Hophius, the first baseman, here in the 4th inning. A rarity in college baseball, a senior first baseman in his 4th season. Romancic delivers a big curveball that catches the inside corner for a strike. Well, so far so good for Romancic. He escaped a little bit early on as Long Beach State left 4 men on base in the 1st and 2nd inning. I guess when you're facing the other team's ace, you've got to pitch like an ace. We talked about that. That ball hit hard into the gap in right center field. It is on one hop off the wall, and Hophius will coast into second with a leadoff double here in the 4th inning.
Well, I tell you what, he threw him 2 breaking balls in a row, and then he came up with a fastball up and in a little bit, and he just smoked it out there. His second base hit of the day.
Mike Hophius, you know, hitting is contagious, and it looks like the Dirtbags are all getting into the act.
Well, they really are, and for a team who's struggled offensively, this is what they need. Now, it's the same when you're talking about pitching. Pitching is contagious, and you got to get into a rhythm. Well, right now, Long Beach State is in that rhythm offensively.
So Hophius with a leadoff double. Sean Boatwright, who reached on an error by the shortstop Chris Meinecker, his first at-bat here with nobody out in the 4th inning. Long Beach scored in the 1st and the 3rd. That ball fouled off and out of play.
Romancic isn't one of those left-handed pitchers that strikes fear in a left-handed hitter. He kind of comes over the top with his release. You know, the guys that are troubling for the left-handed hitters, guy that stands over on the first base side of the rubber and his arm comes out from right field, almost like the ball's coming from behind you. But he kind of brings it up over the top. It looks like you get a pretty good look at him. And I think that the lefties seem to be hanging in there pretty well.
That pitch is down low, 1-1. Let's take a look at Romancic and how he delivers. And imagine yourself as a left-hand hitter, as Hophius just was. Comes kind of over the top.
Pretty much over the top. That's what I mean. You know, the guys that scare you, the kind of one lower 3/4 guys that the ball comes from behind you. You know, he really shows the ball pretty good to the hitter.
Pitch taken outside corner for strike 2, 1-2. Now, you faced Randy Johnson, haven't you?
I faced Randy Johnson,
well,
yes.
What was that like?
That was very scary is what that was like. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Look, I liked hitting off of Randy Johnson because everything he threw was hard. His slider was 93, his fastball is 98. So if you just look hard and swing in the zone, you're going to hit it. And you knew going off of Randy that if he threw you a nasty slider, you had no chance anyway. You had to hit mistakes off of him.
Romancic delivers. It's hit hard toward the gap in left center. Fold on the run. He won't get it. It drops in. They're going to send the runner. And Hophius scores the 3rd run of the game for Long Beach State. Clutch hitting by Sean Boatwright as the Dirtbags have the lead back to 2 runs.
So a good base running by Hophius out there. You know, you tell the runners, the outfielders know where they are. He turned, saw where the ball was going, and knew it was going to fall in and scored easily.
Sean Boatwright delivering a base hit. And that is Boatwright's 17th run batted into the season. Stanford knew that he was going to score. Even though he's a lumbering first baseman, it fell in the right place. And Long Beach State, for the first time in maybe almost a month, feeling like themselves again, getting a lead. They've been playing from behind. They've been having trouble scoring runs. Even their ace got rocked in Miami, but here today they lead Stanford 3-1. Here's the bunt. Mayberry there. Will they have someone to cover? And just in time to make the play, Jed Lowry, and there's one down on the sacrifice.
Well, Sindlinger doing it again. He's 2 sack bunts today. He's moving the runners over, and he's not a real threat, as we talked earlier with the bat, but the fact that he's advancing the runner and doing it successfully. We've seen some quality bunting so far here. His form has been fantastic, and he gets the bat at the top of the strike zone, catches the ball on the bat, nice and easy down the first baseline, and almost beat that out there. They ended up making a pretty nice play.
That was almost the perfect sack bunt because he made the first baseman field it, and the pitcher couldn't cover. Had to be the second baseman.
I tell you, bunting with aluminum bats is tricky. When you talk about good form, you're exactly right, because if you catch that too much on the barrel, it's almost like a double.
The leadoff man Velasco up, and he loops one toward the shortstop for an easy out. They're 2 down. Boatwright rather, remaining at second. And that'll bring up Danny Mockney.
You asked me earlier about Randy Johnson. The other thing about Randy Johnson is when he used to strike you out, which he did a lot of, on the way back to the dugout, you heard about it.
Is that
That's
right?
the thing about Randy, man. He was not quiet, man. He yelled at you all the way back to the dugout.
Dude, trash talk in baseball.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
And there's not much you can say to a guy like him. What are you going to say? I'm going to get you next time.
Exactly.
Keep your mouth shut, put your tail between your legs, and go back to the dugout.
What really shocks me is how's a guy like Joe McEwing? Joe McEwing has like a career, 400 average against him or something. That pitch is lined down the right field line, but just foul by Mockney, who has a double already. Scored the first run of the game. For Long Beach State, they've scored in the first, the third, and here again in the fourth. Maybe it's something about those singles hitters. You probably had a good career average against him.
I did really well off of Randy. Now I can distinctly remember at least 2 infield slow roller hits as well. So I got my share of chinkers off of him.
Well, you take anything you can get, right?
Absolutely.
They don't ask you how many. That's down the left field corner. That's going to be extra bases for Mockney. The 4th run in to score, Boatwright, and into second, Danny Mockney with a double, his 2nd of the game, the 4th of the game by Long Beach State.
Good piece of hitting right there. You know, Mockney actually was one of 3 guys that were playing all year at third base, and he finally established himself as the third baseman because he started swinging the bat, driving in runs. Stayed back, let that ball kind of come into him. He reached, got his arms out there on it, drove it down the line. Good piece of hitting right there. That's a good stroke.
2 runs in here in the 4th inning as Mockney has got a couple of doubles, scored a run and knocked in a run. So Long Beach State has opened up a lead, and there's going to be some activity now in the Stanford bullpen.
When you're competing for playing time and you start hitting, that's the best way to get yourself in the lineup on a regular basis.
Kodiak Quick is getting set. That's not a new form of photography or film. That's a baseball player, a right-hander.
Boy, big play by Lucy right there. He bounced out pretty good. That ball was way off the plate. Good lateral movement behind the plate. You don't often hear about range for catchers, but sometimes it comes into play, and right here he's got to get out there quickly, keep it in front, because as we talked earlier, the backstop's a long ways away.
Mockney has stolen 4 bases on the season, tried 5 different times. He's at second with 2 down. John Bowker, who doubled in the first run in the first inning, and then popped to the catcher. That's swung on and hit hard into the gap in right center field, and that's going to get to the wall. Bowker into second with another double, back-to-back doubles. Mockney scores. Long Beach State 5, Stanford 1 here in the 4th.
Hit a breaking ball right there. You know, he actually threw him 3 curveballs in a row that at bat. He's got fallen into a pattern. For each of the previous 3 left-handed hitters, you started them off with back-to-back curveballs, 2 in a row. He threw a 3rd one right here. You're going to look enough. You see a pitch enough times, you're going to be in a position to be able to hit that ball pretty good, and drove it out to the wall.
So Mark Romancic getting cuffed around here in the 4th inning. The sophomore from Newark, Delaware, having some troubles. Long Beach State with 9 hits now on the day, as the action continues in the Stanford bullpen.
You know, in the first game today, we kind of saw some of the same pitching, and he's trying to get that breaking ball over. He's getting it over. The problem is he's not getting it down and away. It's just not effective on lefties unless you can get it down and away, and he has not been able to do that as to this point.
So 5 earned runs on the 9 hits and 3 2/3 against Romancic. Scott Walker is standing by with Troy Tulowitzki's dad, and he must be enjoying this, Scott.
Yeah, he's enjoying it, but he didn't want to talk to me because, he's all riled up. What did you say to me today? The beach is back today?
I said the beach is back.
When you look at Troy now, what was the thoughts? He got a nice little fastball, it's like to hit out in the last at bat.
I can just tell by the first bat he's on today, and I think he's back this year to redeem himself. This is his hometown. There's a lot of people involved in this, and he really thinks last year he let the beach down, and I think this year he came to play.
It's interesting. Bobby Crosby was the last shortstop here. What kind of work has Bobby done? I know he's worked with him some in the offseason. Troy obviously has a chance to be a player like Bobby Crosby is. What kind of connection do they have?
Well, that's putting pretty big words for Troy. I mean, Bobby Crosby's a great player. Troy stays in touch with Bobby Crosby, and but whatever Bobby Crosby can teach him, he tries to teach him. And a lot of people say they're both similar.
Well, they're big shortstops.
Big shortstops. But hey, he hasn't reached that level yet, so I can't compare him.
All right. For you, though, now, you got a guy at home. You guys live in Sunnyvale. You see, your wife said that you get to see him more often than she does because she has to stay home and take care of the kids.
Yeah.
All right. For you, though, what does it feel like having him only 10 minutes away from the house?
Oh, I love it. It's just when he came home and he walks in that front living room, and it's like, it's a dream. It's like he's here. He's back home and where he should be. And but I'll tell you, picking Long Beach State for a school is just like.
Kodiak Quick will be the new pitcher, right-hander with an ERA of 3.28. 1 win, no losses on the season. His 16th appearance. We'll be back in just a moment to Palo Alto, the regional here on CSTV. 5-1 Long Beach State.
Lowry. No. Yes?
Thanks, guys. Welcome back to Stanford, California. Long Beach State with a 5-1 lead over Stanford. We're here in the top of the 4th inning. The Beach with 3 runs in, 3 doubles in the inning. It's Kodiak Quick, the right-hander, is on. His 16th appearance, as I mentioned, does have 1 save on the year. Mark Romancic, one of the 2 solid starters for Mark Marquez, has been knocked out of the box here in the 4th inning. So we were discussing during the break and the call back to New York whether or not Marquez might come back with Romancic on Sunday, should he need him. 66 pitches, I believe it was.
Well, I certainly think that he will. I think that he'll be somebody that will come out of the pen. You know, we talked 66 pitches, but he did that in a quick amount of time. It wasn't like he spread those out. So, it does, and that also adds, warming up down in the bullpen. You got to add another 20 or 30 there. So, but I think he'll be effective if he needs him again, whether it's tomorrow or whenever it might be.
Troy Tulowitzki is the hitter. Well, they have some other choices, obviously. If Stanford goes on to lose this game and they got to play a game tonight against St. John's. The loser of this one plays St. John's later. 10 o'clock Eastern time. Kodiak Quick delivers his first pitch, and that's outside, ball 1.
As we came into the day today, Stanford had an advantage because they had a complete game from Gilmore last night, didn't use their bullpen, and Long Beach had to use a couple of relievers. Now it shifts a little bit.
The fastball is fouled back to the screen, and the count even at 1-1. Well, Long Beach State's offense has awakened. They have struggled mightily all season long. 5-run outburst here for them. And we can go back and take a look. They haven't scored 5 runs very often. This pitch is popped up in the air, and that'll be out of play as well. They had scored 5 runs or more only 3 times in the last month, as they had lost 7 in a row. Now here they are with a 5-1 lead over Stanford, and their ace on the mound. And we're just in the 4th inning.
This game is such a mental game, and how you feel impacts how you play. There's no telling how much that game yesterday, the way they won it and how it energized them and gave them some confidence, and now you see it starting to build for them right now.
And Quick gets the outside corner on Tulowitzki to end the inning. So on in relief, Kodiak Quick ends the threat. But 3 runs on 4 hits One man left on base, the Dirtbags. Right now shocking Stanford with their offensive output. Extra base variety. 5-1, middle of the fourth. Back with more on CSTV.
This exclusive presentation of the NCAA Baseball Championship Regional on CSTV is brought to you by Savvis, a managed services technology provider to college sports television.
Back at Stanford for the bottom of the fourth inning. John Mayberry Jr. followed by Brian Hall, the right fielder, and the catcher Donnie Lucy. Mike Crispino, Steve Phillips, Kevin Stocker with you. We have another game tonight. St. John's won against UNLV earlier today by a final of 9-6, and St. John's might be considered the surprise of this region right now, having pushed Long Beach State to the bottom of the ninth inning with a chance to win the game. St. John's did in the top of the ninth before falling in the opener, and then coming back to beat UNLV at their own game by scoring 9 runs.
They did today. They looked very impressive today.
They hit the ball, and I think, Steve and I were talking about this earlier. This place brings out the best in offense. You like to hit in this place, it seems like.
Absolutely. I tell you, coming from the East Coast to the West Coast, the ball carries differently. St. John's, who only had 35, 36 home runs, have had 4, I think, the last 2 games. So all of a sudden they've found their offense.
You talk about confidence as that pitch is taken for a strike. That's something that will get your confidence up. If you're a St. John's team that came here with very few home runs, all of a sudden you're reaching the seats.
Well, they need confidence. I mean, they needed to get that belief in themselves. They had a tough loss yesterday. They showed a lot of courage bouncing back today.
Weaver fires, and that's a slider outside. He looks a little bit disgusted with himself on some of his pitches. I mean, trying to achieve perfection, though, I don't think you can expect that, can you, as a pitcher?
Well, no, you can't. But you know what? He's basically had to do perfection all year for these guys. And now the last, today he's struggling a little bit with his control. And his last game he did as well. So, he expects a lot of himself. And that's okay. He wants to put a little pressure on himself. Let's see how he handles it.
Pitch inside.
Ooh, pretty good pitch right there. I'll tell you what, that is nails. He started him off with a fastball down and away and almost begging him to start leaning out over the plate. And it's the second at bat. He's done that to almost encourage him to start reaching out there, and then he busts him back inside. That is nasty stuff right there.
John Mayberry Jr., of course, the son of great Kansas City Royal first baseman. Pops it up on the infield. Weaver calling for Brad Davis. Davis there in fair territory, and he makes the catch for the first out of the inning.
I tell you, there was part of me yesterday when they faced St. John's that questioned Weathers' move of starting Vargas. And I think if Long Beach State gets through this regional and win, he's going to look like a real genius. There's no doubt about it.
Well, I tell you what, he set himself up. He rolled the dice, and if it didn't work, he would have received an awful lot of criticism, especially coming off of the 7-game losing streak. Arguably, they had the least amount of momentum of any Division I team still playing. I mean, nobody had 7 losses headed into the regionals, but he went with his number 3 guy, set himself up. He's got his horse pitching against the big team and set up with Ramos for tomorrow.
Brian Hall's the hitter. The right fielder struck out the first time. Well, we saw Cesar Ramos earlier in the season. He was impressive. Now, here's a guy who's won 10 games. And between Vargas and Weaver and Ramos, 31 victories for the starters for this Long Beach State team. They do have 3 capable guys, 1 great pitcher. That ball lined through the hole into left field for a base hit by Brian Hall. That is hit number 4 for Stanford. And they've got a runner on with 1 down.
Jumped all over the fastball. Weaver left this one out over the plate a little bit, and Hall just jumped right on it.
Steve, you and I have talked about Stanford being such a professional team, and I tell you, it really comes in handy when you're down 4 runs in a position like this. They just keep grinding. There's no give up in the Stanford team.
Well, we talked about how Weaver missed the strike zone last week, a lot more walks, and how early today it looked like he was throwing more balls. I don't think that's so much about him. I think he's faced 2 very disciplined hitting teams.
And 2 great hitting teams. Let's face it, Miami's 3rd in the country, Stanford number 1 in the country. You talk about all his accomplishments this year and all those strikeouts. These are the 2 of the best 5 teams in all of the country, on back-to-back weekends, essentially.
Well, absolutely. There's part of me that sees this almost as a College World Series game. And that's how big the people around here are looking at it, and certainly I think I see it that way as well.
Donnie Lucy, the catcher, struck out his first time up with a runner at first now. And he takes that for a strike. It's 0-2.
Well, for Long Beach State, this is more than just a regional game. This is exercising a demon right now. This is their nemesis. And right now, they have them in a position that they've got their foot on their neck, and they're going to have to try to finish them off because they have not been able to do this for the longest time. Weaver losing in the Super Regionals last year here. I think that this is redemption for them in a game of baseball, which is about redemption.
The 0-2 pitch coming to Donnie Lucy. And he struck him out, well out of the strike zone. That is number 5 for Weaver. There are 2 down now with the runner remains at first.
Weaver just reared back right here and tried to throw it as hard as he could. Not the best plate discipline right there. That ball's up and out of the zone.
Now, when you're facing a guy like Weaver, is it harder to be disciplined? Because you know he throws strikes. He strikes a lot of people out. He doesn't walk many people. You got to figure you better be ready to swing.
Well, you want to be ready to swing, but I mean, you have to look fastball. You look for the fastball, and when you get one, and when he makes a mistake, you just can't miss that particular pitch.
Because we have seen him throw very little else besides his fastball. A couple of curveballs. I think I saw one changeup. And I don't even think we saw the slider quite a bit in Miami last week. We haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, he threw one slider, looked like he kind of spun it a little bit, and I think he got away from it again. He started throwing a little bit in the third inning when he got a little bit erratic, and I think he went back to the heater because he was having success with it.
Chris Carter, the designated hitter at the plate. And he threw the changeup there to even the count at 1-1. So if you spot that pitch well enough, you're going to get this.
I just think Weaver, if he can work that changeup more, I mean, we've seen it 2 or 3 times, but you know what? He doesn't need anything but fastball changeup.
You're
Those
right.
2 pitches are phenomenal. He just doesn't throw the change enough.
You're right. Absolutely right.
1-1 the count with 2 down, and the runner leading off first base is Brian Hall, who can steal bases. Hall, one of the quicker of the Stanford Cardinal. He leads the way with 14 stolen bases, but the team down 5-1. You doubt that he'll be going. Weaver takes a look in, gets the sign. Now he sets. That pitch is way outside for a ball. 2-1.
I tell you, you watch these base runners from both teams, and neither of them are real aggressive as far as stolen bases, but it's almost to the point when you watch him take a lead, as Weaver starts his windup, they're almost taking one-way leads, everybody. They're leaning back towards first base. And I just think if you're at this level and in the regionals, you need to be more aggressive. Look to anticipate, look for that ball in the dirt.
Hall stepping back to first again. That pitch in the dirt and blocked nicely by Brad Davis.
Little slider right there. He tried to throw it down at his feet. Didn't get him to chase it. You know, Weaver looks like he's getting out of sync here a little bit right now. He doesn't look like he's lost his focus some. He's got to get back in there. And, you know, sometimes he has a tendency to rush his delivery, get out in front, and and his arm doesn't catch up with his body. He's got to regroup right here and get that energy back right now. Got 2 outs. He's got to finish him off, get back in the dugout, and catch his breath.
Chris Meinecker, the shortstop's on deck. Here's the 3-1 coming to Chris Carter. And that swung on and grounded toward the hole at second. Bobbled, and there'll be no play made. That's going to be an error on Chuck Sindlinger. The first of the game by Long Beach State. The inning stays alive with 2 outs.
Well, we've seen a couple of strange hops from this infield. It's very hard around home plate. And he hits this ball right down in the ground, making it a tough second hop. And you'll see it hit the dirt here, and overspin carries it up a little high. He just kind of took his eye off it. It's a good job by the first baseman to actually keep that ball from going into the dugout.
Well, Brian Hall got a good start off first base. I think that created a little anxiety down there at second for Sindlinger. He didn't have but only 1 play to make.
Well, I think he got the high hop, and he knew he was going to field it with his weight kind of back and awkward, and he didn't have a play at second. I think his mind was working a little bit, and he took his eye off the ball.
We've got to check the dirt in front of home plate here, because we have seen a half dozen balls carom off that, topped off that, and end up almost on the outfield grass on a second hop.
As an infielder, some of the toughest plays you have are balls that are right at you, because you find yourself not moving your feet. And those are the plays, all of a sudden it takes a bad hop, you're not quite ready for it. And I tell you, it's just one of those things when the game, if it starts to drag, mentally you got to keep yourself in the game.
So Meinecker, a sophomore from Linwood, Washington, is the hitter. And a 1-0 count from Jared Weaver. Weaver fires and blows it by him for a strike. Count is 1-1.
Meineker's not much of an offensive threat. He doubled early, and sometimes you talked about Joe McEwen against Randy Johnson. Sometimes big guys against the little guys, utility players, little infielders, they tend to just say, hey, here, hit it, throw it, and they throw their fastball out over the plate a little bit. He has to concentrate right here, still making his quality pitch down and away.
Runners lead from first and second with 2 down. Weaver deals, and it's looped into right field on the run, and unable to make the catch, knocking it down is Boatwright. 1 run is in, and the single by Chris Meineker cuts the lead to 5-2. And Sean Boatwright took a risk down there in right field. If he doesn't knock that ball down, that rolls to the corner, and it's 5-3 with a runner probably at third base.
Well, you're absolutely right, and I can't tell you how many times we have seen that in the last 2 days. Guys diving and just coming up short, and it's a big risk this stage in the game to go diving like this. Now, he makes a great play keeping it in front of him, but I tell you what, it was a risky one, and you can take a look. He just comes up short, and this is just like a hockey goal. He just knocks it down.
So the Cardinal hanging in. They've answered the 3-run fourth by Long Beach State with 1 of their own, and still are in business. First and third with 2 down. Here in the 4th, the hitter Sam Fold, he has singled and knocked in a run. That came on a blooper to left. He's also stolen a base. That's in on the outside corner for a strike on the fastball.
I agree, it was a pretty risky play, but right now Fold gets a base hit. It was a heck of a play because he kept the hitter at first base. If he doesn't keep it in front of him, he ends up getting a double on it. That would be a 2nd run to score. So it could turn into being a very good play because it worked out okay for him. Although I wouldn't say the risk was worth it.
Meineker leads off first. He's not going anywhere. Oh, hit him in the helmet. Right in the helmet. Sam Fold. And down to first he goes.
Well, you know, Fold's not shy. He's leaning over that plate a little bit. But I tell you what, this ball hits him square. There's no grazing on this shot.
Oh, the sound speaks for itself. They better check him out, though, make sure he's all right. You got a kid hitting the head. You've got to give him a little bit of time and see if everything's registering okay.
Well, he did angle his helmet a little bit, so that might have, I would think, saved, how heavy that shot was. It sort of grazed off his helmet and headed toward the Stanford dugout. The bases are loaded with 2 down in the bottom of the 4th inning. Johnny Ash is the hitter, and Jeff Weaver's in some trouble for the 2nd straight inning. An error, a couple of singles, a hit batsman, and the bases are loaded. 1 run in for Stanford. This ball is looped down the left field line, giving chase. Bowker down near the bullpen. He will run out of room.
I'll tell you one thing about Weaver, and again, he's a class act. You talked to Coach Weathers about it. Just got done absolutely smoking him in the head, and when he gets down to first base, he actually looks over and makes sure that he's doing okay, and I think that's a class act.
Well, that's something Roger Clemens would do, wouldn't he?
Not if you're Mike Piazza.
No, I don't think so. He might throw something at you. 0-1, 2 outs to Johnny Ash. Critical point in the 4th inning. That ball is way high. Ball 1, 1-1.
This is not what Weaver needed or wanted. They went back, put up a 3 spot right after Stanford had scored. He needed to come out and throw up a 0 right here to keep that momentum going. To let Stanford back in it right here is absolutely not what was necessary.
It's been a long inning for Weaver. He gets set for the 1-1 pitch. He deals and is popped up, foul, out of play again down the left side. 80 pitches for Jared Weaver, and we're only in the 4th inning. That does not bode well for 7th, 8th, and 9th inning Jared Weaver appearances. Although Mike Weathers did tell us he will go 120. He'll throw 130. He is a strikeout pitcher.
You know, if it comes down to the 8th inning, he's at 130, I guarantee you he'll let him go to 140, 145.
But he won't use him tomorrow. So
Yeah,
we'll have to give him that break.
That's a good idea. 1-2 count with 2 outs to Johnny Ash. The bases juiced. Weaver delivers way high. Count 2-2.
He's rushing. The emotions are getting into him a little bit. He's jumping out there toward the plate, and his arm's not catching up with a right-handed pitcher, particularly with his release point. When the body gets out in front and the arm doesn't get up to its appropriate release point, you leave the ball up in the way to the left-handed hitter.
So Jared Weaver facing a pressure-packed situation against the #1 seed here in Palo Alto. Set for the 2-2. And he gets him with a changeup to end the inning, and Weaver fired up as he heads back to the dugout. Stanford back with a run on 2 hits, an error, and left the bases loaded. Trailing through 4, 5-2. Jared Weaver hanging tough. Long Beach State with the lead. Thanks to Kevin Stocker. He'll be back for the next game between St. John's and the loser of this one. And we'll be back for the 5th inning on CSTV in a moment. All right, thanks, guys. Washington's Huskies with a 7-2 win over Mississippi. Well, the field of 64 began in 1999, and momentum building for this college baseball tournament year in and year out. First trip to a regionals on television for CSTV, and we're here with you all weekend long. Mike Crispino, Steve Phillips, Scott Walker, Carter Blackburn's with us as well. He'll be back for the next game. And we go to the top of the 5th inning with Long Beach State leading 5-2. Jason Vargas will lead it off. We mentioned this tournament being played across the country. We began with 291 Division I baseball teams. Started with 64 high chop. Play made at second by Jed Lowry, and the throw on to first. He gets Vargas for the first out of the inning. The SEC hosting 5 of the regions this weekend. Big 12 and the ACC with 6 teams. Pac-10, including Stanford with 5 teams. They got UCLA in with 33 wins. A lot of people didn't think that was going to happen. And Arizona with just 30 wins. So a lot of respect around the country for the Pac-10.
Well, they play a tough schedule. And I tell you what, the competition's very good out here. You know, we're looking at the scores from around the different regionals, and I'll guarantee you there are 15 other regional sites right now with their eyes set on what's going on right here in Palo Alto at this regional tournament.
As a look at some of the teams, we mentioned the 6 in the Southeastern: Arkansas, Florida, Georgia. In that group, Virginia and Mississippi, by the way, hosting regionals for the first time. So exciting times in those 2 regions. The Atlantic Coast, we mentioned, with 6. Clemson, Florida State. Ball chopped up the middle. Play made there by Lowry, and the throw on to first in time.
Boy, nice play right there.
Big time play by Jed Lowry for the 2nd out of the inning.
So a lot of athletic ability right there and some arm. That's not an easy play to make, and it's not an easy throw to make. Good range up the middle. Chopped it, high chopper again off the front of the dirt in front of the plate there. Ranged on the left side of the infield to make that play.
Key there was a quick delivery and obviously accurate.
Well, that's a nice play.
So Davis is out. Vargas and Davis retired by Jed Lowry, and Mike Hofius, who's had a great day so far. A single, then a double, and scored the 3rd run of the game. With Long Beach State holding to a 5-2 lead. We're in the top of the 5th inning. Glad you could join us here on CSTV. We'll continue our coverage throughout the weekend. And thanks for joining us, of course, on high definition television. I'd like to welcome our viewers watching us on high def here in Palo Alto, one of the best places to watch a college baseball team. Set of games. Hofius back to the foot of the dugout. Looks like he was changing his batting gloves. He said that's something that would get the umpire disturbed. I got to change my gloves.
So the umpire stands up there, claps his hands, says, "Come on, hurry up." I think what he's doing is going back. He used his left-handed pitching bat earlier. Now he's getting with the right-hander, and he'll get that bat for the right-handed pitcher.
You're just making that up, aren't you?
I am.
I know baseball players are superstitious, but I've never heard that one. One of the few things I haven't heard about superstitions among baseball players. Hofius a 1-0 count. Takes the ball. Kodiak Quick in his 2nd inning of pitching. Mark Romancic was knocked around 3 2/3. Had to leave the game after allowing 9 hits and 5 runs. It's a critical time for Stanford. In the middle of a game, trailing by 3 to Jared Weaver. Well, there's Hophius. You look at the beach, they call themselves the Dirtbags, and that's why. They like to get down and dirty.
Gets dirt all over us. You can see that eye black smeared all over his face later as well.
And it's got to be eye black. Hit hard to second base. High chop. Nice play made by Lowry. He makes all 3 assists in the inning. 3 up, 3 down. Kodiak Quick has retired Long Beach State. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. 5-2 the Dirtbags over the Cardinal on CSTV. Welcome back to Stanford, California. This is Jared Weaver working in his 5th inning against Stanford. He's allowed 5 hits, 2 runs, has struck out 5. He's 1 short of 200 on the season, and a look at some of them.
Good 2-seam fastball running away. Backdoor 2-seamer. Tell you the fastball is working for him today.
That was a big strikeout there of Johnny Ash. And that ended the 4th inning. That was his 6th strikeout of the game. So he has reached the 200 mark with that strikeout. And with the bases loaded, that's what you need. And he was able to get it. But he has thrown upwards of the mid-80s in terms of pitches already. We're only beginning the 5th inning. So it's been a hot afternoon here in California, in the Bay Area. We'll see how far Jared Weaver can take it against Stanford. He's got a 3-run lead as we kick off the bottom of the 5th inning. And he throws a curveball, it looked like, to start the leadoff man, Jed Lowry, with.
I bet he went in that dugout and Troy Buckley said to him, you've got to get that secondary pitch going for you. You've got to throw a few breaking balls, lead off a guy with it, try to throw it for a strike, which they tend to take, and start to get a feel for it so you can go to it when you need it.
Weaver delivers, and that's on the inside corner for a strike. He hasn't pitched in there that often, but he was able to catch the corner.
It's the 2nd time to Lowry. Last at bat, he got called out on strikes in a pitch he didn't like either.
Now he chops it out in front of the plate, but it went off his leg. So the count goes to 1-2. Jed Lowry has flied to left and struck out. You talk about superstitions in baseball players. Lowry, every game day, has to have something to eat at the cookbook, local eatery. That's what he was saying the other day. I mean, you know, you always fish around for stories on some of these guys. And, you know, you go to the same place for the cup of coffee. He goes to the cookbook for something to eat every game day. Now, I didn't ask him what he eats. I think he just goes around the menu a little bit as he fouls it off. He's not like Wade Boggs eating chicken every day.
I'll tell you what, did you get directions to the restaurant?
Maybe we should.
Why not?
Well, there's another game here tonight, so we'll be watching what happens with the loser of this game against St. John's. And there's plenty of places and things to do here at Stanford. There's ice cream here on a Saturday afternoon. This pitch hit high in the air to right field. That ball is going to be caught as the wind might have held it up a little bit by the right fielder, Sean Boatwright. When he left the bat, it looked like it might go, but Lowry's retired for the first out of the 5th inning.
I think the wind did hold that up. The wind is strongly blowing out to left field right here. We're told by, actually, Mike Weathers told us which way the wind was blowing earlier, watching the flags down the line. It really looked like Lowry got a piece of that ball. And you see the way that Boatwright moved on it. He kept tracking and tracking the ball, and it went much further than he anticipated. Good job staying with it.
So there's one down. You can see those flags. Those are sitting down the right field line and the wind blowing towards left field here. But we'll knock the ball down a little bit. This ball fouled off by Danny Putnam, was struck out and popped out to the shortstop. Not a great tradition here at Stanford over the years. Talk about pitching. Mike Messina, 1988. Jack McDowell in 87. Those are the last 2 College World Series championships for Stanford. They've been to the regionals 22 of the last 24 years. Trying to do it again here. Get to the College World Series. Danny Putnam comes from a family of athletes. We're going to go way back in time now. Mary Sutton Bundy. I believe it's his great-grandmother, if I'm not mistaken. She won Wimbledon in 1905 and 1907. Also won the U.S. Open in 1904. So a long way back for Putnam. This ball popped high in the air to center field. Velasco is calling, but now the left fielder's there, John Bowker, to make the catch, and there are 2 down.
No wonder Putnam has a good backhand, huh? You know, we talked earlier about all the scouts here watching the game and focusing on players on both teams. But, you know, we talked about Weaver, and this was critical for him. Coming off of a bad game, you find out a lot more about a guy when he's struggling than when he's going well and when he's in a big situation. And even within the game, last inning, the way that Weaver came back, made that big pitch to end the inning, that shows people a lot. He actually took a little bit off his fastball, brought it in there. Ash was kind of falling off the plate. And we're finding out an awful lot about what's inside of this guy's heart right now.
Well, coming into this game, the opposition was hitting just 161 against Weaver. Stanford's got 5 hits already. 1 hopper by Mayberry. Play made from third to first. Danny Mockney to Mike Hophius to end the inning. 3 up, 3 down, and Jared Weaver rather, feels like he's got something going as Long Beach State has a 5-2 lead over Stanford after 5. Back with more on CSTV. These are the NCAA Baseball Championship Regionals. Thanks very much. Back here in California, Long Beach State with a 5-2 lead over Stanford. 5 runs, 9 hits, an error. 2 runs, 5 hits, 1 error for Stanford as the Dirtbags have the lead. A weekend of NCAA Baseball Championship Regionals continues tomorrow at 7 Eastern on CSTV Scoreboard. We'll get you caught up on the latest from all 16 regionals. CSTV Scoreboard tomorrow at 7. College sports television, #1 in college sports. There's a look at Jared Weaver. Remarkable resemblance, of course, to his brother Jeff, who pitches for the Dodgers. There's the hair long, and he's long and lean, and he can throw. Right now, he's got a 5-2 lead over Stanford, the #1 seed, right here at Stanford's home, Sunken Diamond Field. The leadoff man is Sean Boatwright here in the top of the 6th inning to face Kodiak Quick. He throws him a curveball, but it's high, and it's ball 1.
Kodiak Quick pitches like his name. He comes in and gets the ball, stays on the mound, and just releases it as quickly as he can.
We've talked about some of the Long Beach State players as that ball's taken for ball 2 that have gone on to the majors. And of course, we talked about Stanford, Mussina, and Jack McDowell. How about Sigourney Weaver, who's a Stanford grad. Ted Koppel, Sandra Day O'Connor, the Supreme Court Justice. Phil Knight, the founder of Nike, went to Stanford. That pitch is chopped foul down the left field line, off the wall in front of the bullpen. Herbert Hoover, the 31st president of the United States, went to Stanford. And Pete McGowan, who's right now the president of the San Francisco Giants, which is a team that is all the rage. There's the Hoover Tower, not behind the walls here at Sunken Diamond. 2-1's the count to Boatwright. And the pitch inside, 3-1. So Long Beach State, which has had 9 hits, 5 runs so far, looking to get a leadoff man on here in the 6th inning. When you're playing Stanford, a team that averages 8+ runs a game, you got to score runs and keep on scoring. That's one of the keys we talked about before this game. This pitch is chopped foul, just off the dugout wall and down the left field line.
I'll tell you, Sean Boatwright missed a couple years with injuries, missed the early part of this year with an elbow injury, and they're glad to get him back in the lineup. And you know, we look at his helmet. He's just got that dirt bag helmet on right now. He's got the Craig Biggio look there with a pine tar and everything on there. And he's a gamer. This guy's up there battling right now, and they were very glad to get him back in the lineup.
Here comes the 3-2 pitch. Boatwright shoots it down the left field line. That's just foul. Well, Stanford likes to bill themselves as the home of champions. 97 total national titles. 2, as we mentioned, here for the baseball team under Mark Marquez. Did you know the football team has won a national championship way back in 1926? Pop Warner. Pop Warner coached that one.
Geez, everybody went to this school.
Except you. Payoff pitch again, fouled back into the screen.
It's tough here. You want to go out jogging and you see Olympians running by you with the crowns with leaves on them, and you go to the pool and there's the Olympic swimmers with their gold medals around their neck.
You get a complex, don't you?
Stay in your room the whole time. You can't do anything here.
Stanford has won 56 men's championships in the NCAA, 29 by their women. Only USC has won more men's, 71. This pitch is hit into center field. Ranging back, Sam Fold. And he makes the catch for the first out of the 6th inning. And the hitter will be Chuck Sindlinger. The Director's Cup. Right there in Stanford Hall of Fame. All the national champions. The various sports. I think this one and UCLA are the most impressive halls of fame you will find on college campuses. I was shocked at UCLA. It was such a great display of all their championships. And this one here at Stanford is the equal. 1 out. Chuck Sindlinger, the hitter. The second baseman is sacrificed twice. Now with nobody on, he'll be swinging the bat.
He's not going to know what to do at the plate right now, right? Not somebody to sacrifice bunt here. Then again, you know what? Mayberry's playing pretty deep at first base. Nothing wrong with trying to push one that way and beating the pitcher to first base.
The infield is back, right along the outfield grass. As he tried to check his swing, but couldn't do it. 0-2 is the count.
Kodiak Quick's what you call a short armor. He's got that quick release, kind of brings it back by his ear and just kind of pumps it in there. Interesting, though, his delivery's the same with his fastball and with that little quick slider he has there, and he's been pretty deceptive for the Long Beach hitter so far.
The 0-2 coming. Swung on, pop foul, out of play. Well, they've won 40 games here at Stanford 10 years in a row. That is kind of the mark of excellence on the college baseball scene.
Tremendous program here.
37 wins for Long Beach State coming in, 45 for the Stanford Cardinal. The 0-2 one more time, and that is taken for a ball. Count goes to 1-2.
But who would want to be an umpire? Every close pitch is questioned, and I'll tell you what, it's a tough job, thankless job back there. They work hard and want to remain anonymous and get pulled into it.
Pitch is popped up into the right side, under it Jed Lowry for the second out. So Kodiak Quick has come in and retired 6 men in a row as Long Beach State's offense has gone dormant after that 4th inning. Quick from Belton, Missouri, 6'1", he's a sophomore. He's got one of those fastballs that tends just to sink naturally, which is a real gift. They call him Cody. Beautiful day here at Stanford. Second of 3 games on CSTV. Earlier, St. John's beat UNLV 9-6. To stay alive, they sent Nevada, Las Vegas home with 2 straight losses. Offering on the bunt and a strike called by Steve Velasco, who has grounded to third, flied to right, and popped to short. He's 0 for 3 on the day.
You know, we kind of heard that Velasco was in Mike Weathers' doghouse a little bit, and the quickest way to get out of the doghouse, get the game-winning RBI, the first game in the regionals, and make the manager look like a genius.
Velasco ground ball to short, fielded by Meinecker, and the throw on to John Mayberry Jr. 3 up, 3 down. Kodiak Quick has quieted Long Beach State's offense and gotten his team to the bottom of the 6th inning. But Long Beach State and Jared Weaver leading at 5-2. We'll be back on CSTV.
This exclusive presentation of the NCAA Baseball Championship Regional on CSTV is brought to you by Savvis, a managed services technology provider to college sports television.
Here's Stanford. Welcome back to CSTV's coverage of the baseball regionals here at Stanford. You know, This is the rally chicken for Long Beach State. This is one of the superstitions that this team has. This particular one is autographed by Tommy Lasorda, so you see how important it is. Yesterday, you saw Jared Weaver. He was holding a Bob's Big Boy doll because that's hitting coaches Don Barbara's favorite restaurant in Omaha. That is, they are hoping that that Omaha superstition will help them get where they want to go. In fact, rally caps and relationships with bats and everything like that will help you out in baseball, including the fifth one, Slump Busters. What was that, from Bull Durham or something like that, guys?
All right, so some of the slump busting things you can do in baseball, rally caps, you could make nice with your bat. The way you wear your clothing matters, of course. All obsessions, slump busters, all that stuff. I've got a good one here for Brian Hall. He's a superstitious guy. He puts the left sock on first, followed by the left shoe. That has to come first. Never the right first, always the left. That's Brian Hall, who's the hitter right now. 1 for 2 on the day. Struck out and singled. Here's Jared Weaver into his 6th inning of pitching, and Weaver gets him to swing and miss. And quickly up and down. That is the 7th strikeout of the day for Jared Weaver. He's gotten Brian Hall twice.
Weaver broke out back-to-back sliders right there, and it's almost like Rocky Balboa, where we held back, then went southpaw on him and started fighting. It's looking, he's held back the slider, and all of a sudden he's going to try to break it out here and bring this game home.
Donnie Lucy, the hitter, he struck out twice, in the 2nd, then in the 4th. And Weaver delivers. Now, you look at a pitcher like Jared Weaver, who basically turns his back to you. How much of that disrupts your rhythm as a hitter? How much of it is a deception for the pitcher?
Well, I think it's deception. I tell you what, I think it strikes some fear in the right-hand hitters. I think he's very difficult to hit for right-handed batters the way he comes around that corner. We talked earlier about left-handed hitters and the left-handed pitchers that are troubling the guys that come from behind him and from right field. I think Weaver, he stands on the third base side of the rubber. He spins his body around, and he's that low 3/4 arm slot that kind of comes out of the shortstop position. I think he's very, very difficult for the right-handed hitters to hit.
The 1-1 coming from Jared Weaver. That pitch is up. 2-1 is the count. The College of Charleston eliminated Army earlier in Baton Rouge, 2-1. LSU beat Southern Mississippi there, 6-2. In Austin, Texas over Oral Roberts, 7-5. TCU over Youngstown State, 12-8. So the scores coming in from around the country. 16 regionals. Next week, 8 super regionals, and then on to Omaha for 8 teams. And I think for the first time since 1982, there could be 5 teams returning to the College World Series. That hasn't happened in over 20 years. There's a possibility of that. Stanford would be one of them. Miami, Rice, Texas. But right now, Rice has lost the game. Stanford's trailing here. So you never know when you start out on a region, even when you host one. 3-1 pitch coming to Lucy. Swung on and missed for strike 2. And that one maybe a little out of the strike zone.
Up and away again. Lucy's showing a propensity to chase that pitch. He did the last time up too when he struck out. The ball kind of got up and away from him, and he chased it out of the strike zone. And if you're Weaver, you keep climbing the ladder on the hitter here. He likes that high pitch. Keep taking it up even a little bit higher.
So the payoff pitch due with 1 out. And he got him. So back-to-back strikeouts, 8 on the game for Jared Weaver. 2 up and 2 down here in the 6th.
Rear and back throwing that fastball. I think he saw that Lucy he kind of overmatched him a little bit. He got it right by him. Nice smooth delivery, turns his body. Watch his release point. It's at about 10 o'clock. If you had a clock above him, his arm slots at the 10 o'clock spot instead of at 11 o'clock when somebody was throwing over the top at a high 3/4 delivery. And that's the one thing I think he's going to have to watch, because he does drop that arm down a little bit. He gets outside of his slider and can spin that slider a little bit.
But as far as wear and tear on an arm for a pitcher, there's not really anything that he's doing there that would create a possibility of that, is there?
No, it's not. It doesn't make him more prone to injury or anything else. I just think that when you throw a breaking ball, you have to stay on top of the ball and kind of pull it through. He gets outside of the ball at that low 3/4 position.
Pitch is hit hard. Hofius stabs. There'll be a play at first. Weaver's there, and that'll end the inning. Mike Hofius robbed Chris Carter of a base hit. 3 up, 3 down. 7 in a row retired by Jared Weaver through 6. Long Beach State's Dirtbags have a 5-2 lead over the #1 seed Stanford. And now they're flashing some leather. Hophius ranging in the hole, up to make the play. The Dirtbags have a lead headed to the 7th.
Long Beach State leading 5-2 here in the Palo Alto Regional of the NCAA Baseball Championships. Scott Walker here along with Bobby Crosby. Finished in 2001, one of the Dirtbags' best shortstops. And at this point now, you guys had a game today, a 1 o'clock game, and you're already here at 5:30 Pacific time. What is that?
I cooked. As soon as the game was over, I headed out. I wanted to see these guys play.
Good deal. What is it about the Dirtbag alumni? You know, you, Jason Giambi, a lot of the other players that are in the major leagues, you want to keep involved with this program. Why has this program been so important to you?
There's just so many good people. I mean, Coach Weathers, Coach Brown, I mean, all the coaches here have been such a big influence on me. And I think they're a big reason why I've had success. So, I mean, anything I can do and come back here and support them, I'm willing to do it.
All right, so you left some of these guys tickets on Thursday night. Who showed up?
None of them. None of them. I left 4 tickets, and they said none of them showed up. So I was a little disappointed in that, but I didn't hold it against them. I'm still out here supporting them.
Nice. Troy Tulowitzki had a big home run here earlier in this game. What's some of the work that you've done with him? What have you told him to help his preparations?
I mean, most of it was defensive work and a lot of mental stuff too. I know he started out slow in the year, but he has such a quick bat, and he's such a great player that if he just relaxes and plays his game, he's gonna be pretty special.
Well, you know, your big thing is power. 1 for 3 with a home run today, and Tulowitzki had the home run here. That's really the one thing that people. Oh, there could be another one here as well. And that one's out of here to go 6-2. Another happy guy here. What does it take for a college hitter to really get some success and carry that to major league level?
I think it's just knowing your swing. And I mean, once you get to the minor leagues, you're going to have a lot of people telling you stuff. And even at the big league level, it's just knowing what you feel comfortable with and knowing what you've had success with. I mean, there's going to be a lot of stuff thrown at you, but if you have a strong mind and know what you can do, you'll have some fun and be successful.
Last thing, how impressive has Jared Weaver been? He could be the #1 pick.
I hope he is. You know, he's such a great guy, and he's an unbelievable pitcher. You know, I wish the best for him.
Guys, Bobby Crosby certainly knows that Jared Weaver now has plenty to work with, and he saw good pitching today because Troy Hudson threw a complete game shutout.
All right. Thanks very much, Scott. Well, Bobby Crosby with a home run for the A's, and then home runs here for his Long Beach State Dirtbags. That one coming from Danny Mockney. What a day he's had. Mockney with a couple of doubles and a home run. 3 runs batted in, and now the lead is 6-2. For Long Beach State, as they put the home standing Stanford Cardinal a little back on their heels. Mockney drove that one to left field. And again, Long Beach State did not hit many home runs all year. 29 coming into this game. So now they're at 31. And Stanford, meanwhile, has homered a total of 91 times coming in here. There's action in the bullpen. Jeff Stimson, a right-hander, is down there for Mark Marquez. Well, it seems to me the regional part of this tournament might be more difficult than the super regional, because in the super regional you got 1 team to face. You got a best of 3. You throw your pitchers just like you would on a weekend series. Here you just don't know. If you lose a game, you got to go out and find pitching to get you through an extra round of games.
Oh, this is a challenge. There's no question about it. You don't know your opponent very well. You're playing a different team every day, which means it's hard to really prepare for the game. I think this is very difficult type of baseball right here. And both these teams, though, they've been through it before. They have the experience. They know what they're going to do. And I think they're handling it very, very well so far.
Well, Long Beach State is familiar with this location. Since 1998, they have played here 5 times. They had an opportunity to host last year in a regional, but then they ended up back here in a super regional, and there are the numbers in Palo Alto since 98, 9-9. So home away from home and a 500 record. But you get rewarded with regionals by having success in the regular season, winning your conference. That ball grounded right back to the pitcher. Quick makes the play, the underhand flip, and Bowker is out of there. He is 2 for 4 on the afternoon. That'll bring up Troy Tulowitzki, who Bobby Crosby was just talking about. And, you know, he was talking about the mental part of the game, preparing to play professionally. And I'm assuming he's talking about the 162-game schedule versus the 56 to 60 you play in college.
Well, I think that's a big part of it. I mean, one of the best things and worst things about professional baseball is that you play every day. It's the best thing because if you don't have a good day, you're going to play again tomorrow and you can redeem yourself. It's the worst thing because you're playing every day, and it is a grind. It really takes a toll on you, both mentally and physically.
Tulowitzki, 2 of 3 on the day. He had a single and a home run, knocked in a run. That came in the 3rd inning as Long Beach State has scored in the 1st, the 3rd, the 4th, and here again in the 7th.
Tulowitzki's had some good at-bats today. He's been much more patient and under control today.
Tulowitzki drives this one to right center field, and that ball is gone for a home run, his 2nd of the day. Troy Tulowitzki drove it over the wall in right center field, and now Long Beach State leads 7-2.
2 home runs driven out to right field for him.
This one came off the right-hander as Tulowitzki gives Long Beach State a 5-run lead.
Boy, he just stays back, lets that ball get into the hitting zone, and drives it out to right field. That's a young-looking dad right there. Happy as can be for his son, huh?
And so Tulowitzki with 2 bombs in this one. That is the 3rd home run hit by Long Beach State. Bobby Crosby's making the call to some of the other dirtbags. Maybe he's calling Steve Traxel right now back in the East Coast. Telling Trax to make sure he's watching this one.
He may be calling his agent to say, hey, I could be a hitting coach too. I've been working with Tulowitzki, and I'm pretty good.
Yeah, Tulowitzki had 3 home runs coming in, and he's almost matched that today. That ball driven out by Troy Tulowitzki, a solo home run. So the score is 7-2. We've got a pitching change here at Stanford. We'll send it back to our CSTV Fieldhouse studios in New York.
Who's coming in?
Thanks very much, Adam. We're back here at Stanford. Long Beach State with a 7-2 lead over Stanford. They have knocked out 2 of the Stanford Cardinal pitchers. And Troy Tulowitzki's had a lot to do with that. Going yard twice. 2 different pitches, 2 different kinds of swings, 2 of the same results.
Boy, nice and relaxed at the plate today. Just standing there, gets his front foot down, drives it out there. Mike Weathers talked about how he's got to get that front foot down to the ground to be able to get his swing prepared to go. Foot down, drives it out there as well. Like that ball up and away a little bit there. But the thing he's doing today, he's letting the ball come back into the hitting zone, where yesterday he was jumping out trying to hit the ball out in front of home plate. To hit the ball the opposite field, you have to let the ball get deeper into the hitting zone to where you can get your hands on the inside part of the ball and drive it out there. And I'll tell you what, he's a big, strong kid, and he's showing off today.
That'll bring Jason Vargas to the plate. Vargas has taken the collar so far, 0 for 3, striking out twice and then grounding out to second. 2 home runs in the 7th inning for Long Beach State and a 7-2 lead for Jared Weaver. Now, you got to wonder, will Mike Weathers stay with Weaver with a 5-run lead, or might he think about bringing somebody from the pen in case Weaver needs to pitch on Sunday.
Well, I tell you what, Mike Weathers told us that he did pitch Weathers. Well, he didn't consider pitching Weaver on Friday because he wouldn't even consider bringing him back for Sunday. I think the fact he's throwing Saturday, there's no way he'd consider doing it. I give him a lot of credit, too, because other coaches might not do the same thing.
Stimson delivers. It's a breaking ball outside, and the count runs to 2-1. So Kodiak Quick is out here in the 7th. He had retired 7 in a row prior to this inning, but then allowed a home run leading off before recording it out and another home run to expand the lead to 7-2, and a base hit drilled into the left center field alley by Vargas. So back-to-back hits now by Long Beach State. They're into double figures with 11.
It's a good piece of hitting right there. You know what Long Beach State's doing today is they're taking what they're being given. I mean, they're not trying to do too much with it. He's got a pitch just down and away a little bit, and a good at bat because Vargas' first 2 at bats against the left-hander today, he really pulled off of that breaking ball. He stayed on that ball down and away and just served it out over the shortstop's head. Good piece of hitting.
Brad Davis, the catcher, is stepping into the box now. He's 0 for 3, struck out, grounded out to third in the 3rd, then grounded out to second in the 5th. 1 down and a runner at first, 7-2. We're here in the top of the 7th inning at Sunken Diamond Field. Davis offers on the bunt, but then pulls it back. So the Dirtbags, who were swept in the Super Regionals here last year, trying to exact a little revenge on Stanford. Stanford came in as the #1 team in the country. Texas got the #1 seed in this tournament, however, which was a little bit odd, I thought. This pitch swung on and chopped toward the shortstop. The flip to second in time for the force at second, as Jed Lowry took the play from Chris Meinecker, and Lowry complaining that Vargas slid out of the base path perhaps, but there's 2 down.
Well, Vargas was moving on the pitch. Ground ball there. He just went in hard. I didn't think there was anything wrong with that. He's going to go in there and try to break up the double play. Late slide. He was able to touch the base, though. He actually looked like he might even stand up. He thought he was going to throw it to first base, but I don't think it was a dirty play at all. Tulowitzki's having a great day today. 2 big home runs, and he's done a great job, as we said, letting the ball get back into the zone. And here you see the pitch coming in, doing the ball up and away. Stayed back, hands inside the ball. Absolutely, let's get back in the zone. Same thing the other time up, ball a little bit further down. Beautiful approach to the pitch right there, and just drove it out. You know, the key to the power isn't about swinging harder with your hands or doing anything else. It's about staying behind the ball and rotating your hips. You get those kinetic links up from your feet, up through the hips, and drive that ball out of the zone. And Tulowitzki's really done a very, very nice job today. And I tell you, as he becomes an all-around player, an offensive player to go with his outstanding defense and his hands and his range, he's got a chance to be a special baseball player.
Did you say kinetic links?
Kinetic links.
And
Bobby Valentine taught me about that.
Did he really?
Absolutely.
You didn't go to Stanford, but you still got kinetic links.
It's interesting. Most people talk about hitting, about throwing your hands to the ball, and it's not about your upper body. It's about your feet and your bottom half and how that works to the baseball.
Curveball's in there for a strike to Mike Hophius. Hophius is single, double, scored a run. With a runner at first now and 2 down, 2 runs in here in the 7th inning. Jeff Stimson is on in relief. Mark Romancic went 3 2/3, and then another 3 innings delivered by Kodiak Quick. Stimson on here in the 7th inning. This game followed by the loser of this game against St. John's. Both teams would have 1 loss, and that would be an elimination game. We'll have it for you on CSTV. That pitch is hit into left field on a line, but in to make the play, Danny Putnam to end the inning. But 2 runs, 3 hits, a man left, and Long Beach State with a 7-2 lead. As we head to the bottom of the 7th inning, Troy Tulowitzki's dad enjoying it, as his son has hit 2 homers in this one. And the Dirtbags have bounced back after dropping 7 in a row, trying to win their 2nd straight. Back with more on CSTV. Welcome back to Stanford, California, for CSTV's coverage of the NCAA Baseball Championships on the regional level. Long Beach State leading Stanford 7-2. Both these teams in the winner's bracket, the fourth game of the weekend, both with wins in their openers. Long Beach State defeating St. John's 4-3 on a Steve Velasco single in the 9th inning, the bottom half. Stanford pounding UNLV 10-4. St. John's then defeated UNLV 9-6 in the third game, and St. John's awaiting the loser of this one in the loser's bracket at Palo Alto. Now, a number of schools have been eliminated already. UC Irvine out in South Bend, Jacksonville State in Atlanta, Middle Tennessee has been eliminated at Athens, Lemoyne and Fayetteville, Central Connecticut at Oklahoma City, Youngstown State at Austin, Bethune-Cookman sent home by Oklahoma State and Tallahassee. Coastal Carolina lost to the Citadel, they're out in Columbia. Army dropped 2 straight at Baton Rouge. Mississippi eliminated by Washington, that was at Oxford. And Fullerton, we have not had a team eliminated yet. Cal State Fullerton trying to send Pepperdine home right now. Arizona State bounced back from a loss to beat Minnesota 6-4 and send them home. So it's been happening all over the country, this NCAA baseball tournament. Next week on the super regional level in 8 locations, it'll be best 2 of 3, which will be a little bit different. I mean, that's a series of games against the same team. This is more like sudden death every day, it seems.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, everything's on the line right now.
Weaver delivering on the ground ball to short. Picked by Tulowitzki, and the throw on to Hophius. Meineker's out to start the 7th inning.
You know, in the inning break, the Stanford Cardinal all huddled up in front of their dugout. Coach Mark Marquis was over there having some sort of a conference with them, talking about things, and I'm sure talking about their approach at the plate, what they're going to do. Now, Meineker took the first pitch there. It may be that he's wanting them to take a pitch to see if they can't work the count deeper and try to capitalize on the fact that Weaver has thrown quite a few pitches so far. You know, they need to work the count. In the more discipline they show, the more they start logging it, the more fatigued Weaver gets, they may have a chance to capitalize on some things.
Well, Weaver has settled down now and retired 8 men in a row. Last man to reach was Sam Fuld, and he was hit by a pitch. That came in the 4th inning. Weaver had trouble in the 3rd and the 4th, allowing 2 hits in both innings, 2 runs. But Stanford left 5 men on base in those 2 innings and were unable to climb back into this game completely. Sam Fuld, 1 of 3, hit by a pitch, had the RBI single. He and Meineker have the RBIs in this one. Weaver delivers the curveball. That ball just low. The count goes to 1-1. And we saw that shot of Marquez. He was quite a player here, not just a baseball player at first base, a quarterback as well at Stanford. He's led them to 5 straight College World Series championships. Little football mentality there. Weaver throws low. It's 88 miles an hour. And the count 2-1.
Weaver's got to keep pumping strikes. You look, Long Beach State, they want to keep Jared Weaver in this ball game right now. Their bullpen really was the reason they had that 7-game losing streak. They want to do everything they can to keep in the game and actually save some of those arms that they may end up needing later in the weekend.
Now Weaver delivers. That's high. Ball 3-1.
He looks like he's getting a little bit tired to me. I'll tell you what, he is not as crisp looking with his delivery as he was earlier in the game. He's going to have to suck it up right now and start getting out there, because he absolutely should only be thinking about throwing strikes. Don't play games. Don't get cute throwing off-speed stuff right now. Pump the strike zone. Just keep pounding that strike zone. Make them earn it to get on base. Do not give them any base on balls.
Weaver delivers, and that's in there for a strike. Count goes full. That's his 109th pitch. 67 strikes. So here we are on the 7th inning. He's over the 100 pitch mark.
He's on a little better pace than he was early in the game. You know, he was at 80-some pitches through 4. So he actually has been a little more efficient here more recently, but he's got to keep pumping in strikes.
That pitch hit high in the air down the left field line, moving over for it. Danny Monkey's got room, and he makes the play. 2 down in the 7th inning. So Weaver went to a full count on Fuld and able to get him. And that'll bring Johnny Ash to the plate. And maybe the biggest out of the day came in the 4th inning with the bases loaded in a close game. And Johnny Ash had an opportunity with the bases loaded, but he struck out. Troy Buckley on now to talk to Jared Weaver. Here with 2 outs, maybe give him a little bit of a breather. Wouldn't be a bad idea.
Well, it's not the most obvious time to go out and talk to him, but I think they probably saw what we did up here, that Jared looked like he was getting a little fatigued. He was getting a little bit out of it. He has the 5-run lead. You can't start going through the motions. I think Troy Buckley saw that, did a very, very good job going out there. Get in his face a little bit, get him back focused again, and tell him, look, we need you to finish this thing off for us.
Weaver, who's making his 18th start of the season, has never pitched in less than 6 innings a game any start this year. So here he is into the 7th. He's gone 6 2/3. That's in there for a strike. He had 2 complete games back to back most recently, before going 8 2/3 against Cal State Fullerton, allowing 1 run, and then the big blowout at Miami back on the 27th of May. He gave 7 runs up in 6 1/3. This pitch fouled back, and the count now 0-2. So, well, Buckley might have been saying, you know what, don't waste time throwing balls, just throw strikes.
Absolutely. He probably went out there and said, look, they had a team meeting before. He saw them meeting over there, and the first 2 hitters that came up this inning took the first pitch for a strike. And for Weaver right now, he wants to get ahead. So if they're going to take it, throw that one in there. Even if they hit it, keep it in the ballpark. And even if they hit it out of the ballpark, it's worth the strike if they do it.
That pitch is looped into left field. Drifting back and making the catch, John Bowker to end the inning. 3 up, 3 down. 10 in a row retired by Jared Weaver. Long Beach State on top of Stanford 7-2. We'll be back on CSTV. Back at Stanford, California, a couple of students who are finishing up finals at Stanford University. Their baseball team right now is Bobby Crosby of the Oakland A's, a former Long Beach State dirtbag, looks on. There he is in the middle. Dirtbags leading 7-2. They got 12 hits on the day. Stanford's been held to 5 hits, 2 runs by Jared Weaver. We will go to the bottom, or the top, I should say, of the 8th inning. And in relief, Drew Ehrlich, the 4th pitcher of the day for Mark Marquez. Drew Ehrlich, a right-hander, in relief. Mark Romancic started, went 3 2/3. Kodiak Quick 2 1/3. An inning by Jeff Stimson, and now on in relief, Jeff Ehrlich. We're here at the NCAA Baseball Championship Regional, presented by Easton. Long Beach State against Stanford, 5-2 is the 7-2 is the score. 5-run lead for Long Beach State. Mike Crispino, Steve Phillips, along with Scott Walker. A little bit later on, Carter Blackburn will be in with Kevin Stocker. St. John's plays the loser of this game. So if the Stanford Cardinal do not rally in the bottom of the 8th and 9th innings, they'll be playing a doubleheader. Back-to-back games. The best high school soccer players in the country will be squaring off in 2 All-Star Showdowns. The McDonald's All-American Boys and Girls Soccer Games coming to you live from the Home Depot Center in Carson, California. That's next Sunday, June 13th, starting at 5 Eastern, right here on CSTV. #1 in college sports. Carson, California, hosting the McDonald's soccer game. Good people at McDonald's do a great job of putting on and promoting high school showcases. And they'll be here next weekend. So the leadoff hitter will be Sean Boatwright, to be followed by Chuck Sindlinger and the leadoff man, Steve Velasco. A 7-2 lead for Long Beach State. Jeff Ehrlich delivers, and that ball is lined through the hole, past the third baseman. Johnny Ash into left field for a base hit. So Boatwright now 2 for 4 on the day.
Boatwright's getting it turned on. He's finally getting a chance to play, and I tell you what, he wants to take advantage of it. Hands back. He kind of drifted a little bit to the ball, but he kept his hands back and was able to get it through there and just drive it past the third baseman. Line shot. Kind of a baby-faced kid over there at first base.
Leadoff man is on for the Dirtbags as they try to add to their lead. They have a 7-2 advantage. They would play tomorrow if they should hold on to win this game in the winner's bracket game, the 6th game of the weekend. They put themselves in the driver's seat. The 4th game always key because it's the winner's bracket game. And the sacrifice bunt This time it rolls just foul. Chuck Sindlinger's already sacrificed twice on the day. Drew Ehrlich in his 9th game of the year has a win, an ERA of 3.65. As the bullpen has been used quite a bit here today by Mark Marquez.
Well, I think Mark Marquez right now is going to spread some of the innings out. He doesn't want to start eating up one guy getting too burned out. He wants to be able to save some arms in case he needs it. If he doesn't win here and he has to come back later tonight, he needs some guys that still have some bullets left that they go out there and throw for him. So I think he's now, from this point, going to spread the innings out and the pitches out a little bit.
Ehrlich's a senior from Merced, California. Went to Golden Valley High School. Experienced pitcher, has been around here at Stanford. Pitched 66 innings over the course of his first 3 years. So used as a middle reliever primarily. He was involved in the California Coastal Collegiate League in 2003. A lot of players go there. Alaska, go to the Cape Cod League, which folks on the eastern seaboard are more familiar with. It's good to spend time playing off season, even if you've had a 60, 70 game college season. Gives you a little more feel of what it's like to play professionally. That ball bunted, and that one's foul too. So 2 strikes to count now, and Chuck Sindlinger.
I tell you, we've seen some very well coached baseball teams here this weekend. This is the first batter that's had 2 foul balls on bunts. Everybody has been successful getting bunt attempts down. Having watched so many professional baseball games where pitchers go up there and just make terrible attempts at trying to get a bunt down, I can really appreciate the quality of the effort here and the quality of the instruction to the technique of these bunters.
What happens to Major League Baseball pitchers? Do they forget? A lot of those guys were actually hitters in college.
These kids work on it. They don't work on it as much in the big leagues as they should.
All right, the 1-2 pitch coming. Sindlinger's swinging away, grounds it to second. He will move the runner over with a good piece of hitting and nearly beat it out as well. So Chuck Sindlinger's done an excellent job of moving runners with the bat in this one. He'll show 0 for 2 on the day, but he has made a difference. Well, we heard Stanford Cardinal radio earlier in the broadcast here on CSTV. Now we're going to take a listen to what's being called on Long Beach State's radio.
A big welcome to our national TV audience on CSTV, College Sports Television. I'm Houston Bob fan still with Les Lucock, Long Beach State Baseball. Get her done.
Steve Velasco steps in. Steve Velasco steps in, the leadoff man for the Beach. He is 0 for 4 on the afternoon. 1 out here in the 8th inning.
Okay, now I get the hat. I earned the hat.
Now you get to wear the hat.
I earned the hat.
Velasco.
Pitch in the dirt.
Velasco squared the bunt.
I'll put it on.
You got to put it on now, huh? What are they going to put you on TV? Oh, my.
There we go. If this screws up the game, I'm really in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like they might actually put us on TV. And my phone's ringing, so it sounds like we actually may be on TV. So here's Steve Velasco as he comes set. Ehrlich comes set at the belt. Chuck's on the runner down at second. Pitch on the way outside. Lucy with the backhand grab.
Good job.
To keep that ball in front.
Mouse 0 for 4 today.
He's 0 for 4 is Velasco, but he's ahead in the count, 2-0 here. There is 1 out. That on the little ground out by Chucky over to the right side, advancing Boatwright. Boatwright standing down at second after he laced a single into left field. Here's the delivery from Ehrlich in there for a called strike. And the count is 2-1.
I guess we were.
Yeah, apparently so.
Cool.
That is pretty cool. Thanks to our friends at CSTV for taking care of us. Steve Phillips over there having a laugh about the whole thing. Can't blame him for that. Here's the 2-1 offering from Ehrlich. The pitch wrote to the left, right at Putnam. And Boatwright will have to retreat to the bag on the fly out by Velasco. So we have 2 down in the inning. That brings up Danny Mockney. He and Tulowitzki, the 2 hottest hitters in the game for the Dirtbags. Thanks, CSTV.
Yeah, thanks, CSTV, for doing it. Cool.
Danny Mockney.
National Television. Don't want high.
A pair of doubles and a home run for Mockney. The transfer from the University of Hawaii. I mean, they even got you to change your hat. That must be
All right, so that's what's happening over there on Long Beach State's. I guess it's internet cast. I don't think it's radio, but it's on the website for Long Beach State.
Sound like they're having fun, though.
Yes, absolutely. We need to get some sunglasses like those guys. I don't know what's wrong with us.
I kind of like that orange hat myself.
You like that orange? I think we can get one of those from the truck. Our producer, maybe Matt Limp, will come up with something. Billy Stone. You'd think they'd have hats and sunglasses for us, but no.
They gave us those glasses with a funny nose and mustache stuff.
How about some hair dye? Maybe that would help.
Is that a gray hair joke?
Danny Mockney. Yours isn't gray, it's white. Remember that. Danny Mockney is the hitter. He has doubled twice and homered, and if we had hats, we would be tipping them to the audience around the country. Glad you can join us here in Stanford, California. Absolutely beautiful day. Second of 3 games here for us. Mike Crispino, Steve Phillips, Scott Walker roaming around somewhere, digging up stories. Talked with Bobby Crosby a little while ago, which was interesting. I wonder how much that happens around the country. Players of certain colleges going back, working with players at those schools. I'm not sure that happens all that much.
Well, I think you see it in football a lot where they're on the sideline, but it's a somewhat protected environment there where people can't get to them. I give Bobby Crosby a lot of credit. He's sitting out in the stands. I mean, you know, back in New York, people would be all over him looking for autographs and wanting to go to dinner with him. So it's nice, though, that he's back here supporting his old team.
Pitch is peeled off down the right field line, and that'll go out of play. There are 2 outs here in the top of the 7th inning. A 7-2 lead for Long Beach State. They've got a runner at second, Sean Boatwright, who led the inning off with a single. Danny Mockney has 3 runs batted in on those 2 doubles and the home run. He's 3 for 4. And Long Beach State, which has struggled, as we said so many times, to score runs, has finally given themselves a little breathing room in a game. They came into this regional on a 7-game losing streak, but they were able to beat St. John's late, coming from behind twice. The runner going, that ball fouled away down the right field line, giving chase, and it'll end up in the bullpen as Brian Hall hustled over to that wall. But Long Beach State late in the season really struggled. When the month of May began, they were 5th ranked in the country, and then they lost 10 of their last 18 games. They lost their Big West opportunity, which would have allowed them probably to host a regional. Wouldn't have had to leave home at all. Wouldn't have had to come to Stanford. Maybe that was something that motivated them. Here's the pitch, and it's in for a strike. Danny Mockney caught looking to end the top of the 8th inning. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left through 7.5. It's 7-2. Long Beach State leading Stanford. The Cardinals got 2 more chances to stay in the winner's side of this regional. Thanks, Adam. We're back in Stanford, California. Look at St. John's. They play the loser of this game later tonight. 10 p.m. Eastern, the start time for that one. They've already won their game today, 9-6, and they have found some missing power, hitting 4 home runs in 2 games here. They could have been in the winner's bracket themselves playing in this game. They were basically 1 out away.
They were. I'll tell you what, though, this next game is going to be interesting because you have 2 teams that will be coming into it from very different positions. St. John's won today. They feel good about themselves after a tough game yesterday. They're coming in feeling like they have some momentum. Whichever team ends up playing in the 3rd game here tonight will be the team that lost today. And that's a different emotion heading in to continue to play a 3rd game today. So it's going to be a very interesting and diverse approach to the 2 different teams.
Well, Stanford in the 8th inning will send the meat of their order to the plate. Jed Lauer to lead it off, the second baseman, Danny Putnam, and John Maybury Jr. Lowry's been shut down 0 for 3 by Jared Weaver. He was flied to left, struck out, and then flied to right in the 5th inning. So the bottom of the 8th inning, a 7-2 lead for Long Beach State. Weaver set, and he fires. That pitch is outside. Ball 1-1-1.
This is the critical inning for Stanford right here. They're obviously running out of time, but these are the horses right now. Lowry and Putnam and Mayberry. These guys are the guys that have carried them all year long. If they're going to make a run here, this will be the inning they started.
Weaver fires on the inside corner, but misses. 2-1. Won that Oklahoma City regional. UCLA had an 8-run second inning against Oklahoma. Good people of Oklahoma City can't be happy about that. 10-1 the lead. UCLA, they're playing in the 7th inning. Pitch is fouled back by Lowry. Well, Jared Weaver's had Lowry a little bit off balance, it looks like, in most of his at-bats. Well, inside the Long Beach State dugout, there's I guess a replica of a water closet with an LB on it. Do they take that around game to game, you think? Another superstition, perhaps?
It means something.
They all do. The pitch hit to medium left field. John Bowker is there to make the play, and there's one away here in the 8th inning.
Jared Weaver's a tough pitcher to hit. You know, he moves that fastball in and out, and for the hitter, it's awfully tough to center because you can't cover. As a hitter, you really have to make a decision of what you're going to do. You're going to cover the outside part of the plate or the inner part of the plate. You can't cover the whole thing, and when he moves that fastball around, he runs that inside. The hitter says, all right, I've got to now be prepared for the inner part of the plate. And then he runs that two-seam fastball starting in the outside corner, running it off. It's very, very difficult on the hitters.
So Danny Putnam is the hitter. He'll try Weaver, and he swings and misses. Looks like he took a little something off that one.
A little change up there. Nice pitch because he went up there thinking, all right, I'm going to jump on that first fastball. I'm going to jump out of my shoes, hit one hard, see if I can't get something started. He pulled the string on it, spun him around in his shoes.
So Jared Weaver ahead of Danny Putnam, the junior Californian. Weaver fires inside, just misses, 1-1. Weaver well over the 100-pitch mark. We documented that in the last inning. 7 1/3, 5 hits. 2 runs. 1 was earned. He's walked 1 hitter. Seems like he's had a lot of deep counts, though. 8 strikeouts. And again, he pulls a string on Putnam. So going to a little bit of a changeup now here in the 8th inning, Jared Weaver.
Beautiful pitch. Kevin Stocker talked about it earlier. He's exactly right. When you have a guy throwing a 93-mile-an-hour fastball and he can throw a changeup at 78, 80 miles per hour, that 15-mile-per-hour differential makes it nearly impossible on the hitter to be able to stay back, still handle the fastball out in front, and stay back on the off-speed pitch.
And he just misses on the outside corner. The count goes even at 2-2. Well, Weaver's had some prolific strikeout performances. He's been in double digits 12 of his 17 starts. He struck out 10 in a row to start 2 games this year against USC and BYU. 10 in a row. I don't know if I've ever seen that. Have you?
It's amazing.
That pitch chopped down the first baseline. Weaver there, and he will make the play himself. An athletic move by Jared Weaver. A good defensive move, and there are 2 outs here in the 8th.
Well, Weaver's showing off. There's no question about it. He's pitching and showing that athletic ability. We go back to what we talked about at the beginning of the game, the keys for each of the 2 different teams. For Long Beach, they needed to ride the horse. They needed Weaver to go out there, do the job, and have everybody work behind him. They've done that, and they've generated the offense that has been lacking for a good part of the year against their nemesis, the Stanford Cardinal, and against the left-handed starting pitcher. For Stanford, they needed to get to Weaver early. They weren't able to accomplish that. Romancic was not able to match Weaver by any means, and now they're beating up on the bullpen a little bit as well.
And that last line there is so important because you think about some of the matchups you have seen on the major league level. Pedro Martinez, when you face him in his prime, the Yankees like to send Mussina against him, the Stanford grad. And Mussina always seemed to lift his game to that level, which gives your team a tremendous boost of confidence when you're facing a guy like Pedro Martinez.
Well, there's no question. You know what? I think Stanford actually empowered Long Beach earlier in the game when they swung at the 3-0 pitch. You know, they swung at that 3-0 pitch. They didn't start the runners. I mean, they were doing a lot of things showing respect that they knew that Weaver was going to try to shut them down and keep it a very close game.
Pulled the infield in the first inning.
Right. Pulled the infield in to try to cut down the run. I mean, they did a lot of things to show that they thought it was going to be a very low-scoring game.
John Mayberry Jr. is the hitter. And the 1-1 pitch is swung on and chopped back behind the plate. He was Seattle's first-round pick, the 28th overall in 2002. Decided to come to school, and that's an interesting story in itself. He might be a guy that had a shot to reach the majors at some point, but decided to go the college route.
Tell you what, you know, everybody faces that difficult decision when they get that draft, that call that they've been drafted. And this is a classy young man right here, and he chose to get that education. He understands that opportunity will come for him to get the call again, that he's a first-round pick and he's going to be a big leaguer. And, that's one of the things I've really liked about this program here is they bring in quality people and then they develop them. Mayberry's really developed. He's filling out physically. He had 4 home runs last year, 14 this year. Both on the field and off the field, they're developing the player to become the kind of person that you want to be both at a major league level as a player and who you want to represent your company or country.
He's only 21 years old. His nickname, Junior, as you'd expect. His dad, John Mayberry, who was one of my favorite players as a Kansas City Royal, even though I wasn't a Kansas City Royal fan. He tortured the Yankees in the ALCS in '77 and '78. He ended up with 255 home runs in his career. There's another look at one of the many scouts on hand to watch Jared Weaver pitch in this game.
I'll tell you, the scouts are here to watch some of these other guys as well. There's no question. Putnam's a guy that is going to go very high in the draft. I think that they're looking ahead to what Lowry's going to become. Mayberry's a guy they're keeping tabs on, and they'll all go home and submit reports on all these different players.
Weaver's pitch is popped up on the right side. Mike Colfius is there in foul territory to make the catch, and that will end the inning. That is the 4th straight inning that Weaver has set the side down in order. 13 in a row by Weaver. Sun beginning to set behind us here at Stanford, California, but the field mostly covered in sun at this point as we head to the top of the 9th inning. Long Beach State with a 7-2 lead over Stanford. Jared Weaver shut down the Cardinal on 5 hits, just 2 runs through 8 innings. Long Beach State with an offensive explosion of 13 hits for them as they try to win this winner's bracket game and get themselves to Sunday without a loss. You can check out collegiatesports.com for the latest scores, news, and analysis from the NCAA Baseball Championship Regionals. The #1 college sports destination on the web is collegesports.com. So news, highlights, and analysis, collegesports.com. A number of great websites. If you want to keep up with this college baseball tournament, that's probably the best one. It's a way to find out exactly what's going on in all these regions. Elimination games happening all across the country right now. Florida Atlantic eliminated St. Bonaventure and Coral Gables. Miami then routed NC State 19-5. So the Hurricanes offense exploding. Washington eliminated Mississippi. We told you about that earlier. John Bowker, Troy Tulowitzki, Jason Vargas due here in the 9th inning for Long Beach State against Drew Ehrlich. Elsewhere, Virginia eliminated George Mason in Charlottesville. Virginia lost in the 1st round game there. Rice eliminated Lamar 6-3 in Houston. And tonight, Game 5's happening all around the United States. So 64 teams cut down to 16 in 3 days of play. The 0-1 pitch coming, and that's high, 1-1.
Mike, we talked about Long Beach's offense and the problems they've had all year scoring runs. They came in today having scored 305 runs this season. And then we talked about the Stanford offense. They came in today scoring 484 runs. I mean, we're talking about 180 runs, 179 run differential over the course of the year.
And that's in a 56-game schedule, so they're averaging 3 more runs a game than Long Beach State.
3 more runs a game, and it has not played out that way this year, today, obviously. Good pitching has dominated good hitting.
Well, we asked that question at the top of the broadcast. They say that's the case, and oftentimes it is in baseball, and so far today that theory has held true to form. This pitch is chopped foul down the right field line.
Mark Marquez has made a couple of changes. They brought in a new catcher in John Hester and a new center fielder in Jim Rappaport. And it may be that what he's doing is giving Lucy a break here, giving him a little blow here because he's going to probably bring him back to catch in the 2nd game and wants to give him a break. And probably the same thing with Fold to get him out of there a little bit, get a little bit of rest, and be able to be the guy to lead them leading off in the next game.
Pitch is swung on and grounded through the hole into right field for another base hit for John Bowker. Mockney, Bowker, Tulowitzki, 3 hits each. 9 hits from the 2, 3, 4 hitters in the lineup for Mike Weathers. He couldn't ask for more offensively. Troy Tulowitzki's had 3 hits on the day. 2 of them have been home runs. This is a big blow in the 3rd inning off Mark Romancic. And then Tulowitzki again off the reliever right here. Kodiak Quick gave up another one. And Tulowitzki exploding for 2 on the day, 5 in the season. Long Beach State, whose offense has produced 14 hits now. Tulowitzki, a sophomore from Sunnyvale, was awarded the Best Arm and Defensive Shortstop Award by the Big West. Got in a bit of a roll earlier in the season in March at a 10-game hit streak. He's been a little up and down. But again, a young player, learning every day. Sometimes you find a little something that you can move yourself to the next level with. One thing we saw with Tulowitzki warming up yesterday, he's got size. He's a big player, and he covers ground at shortstop.
He has size and strength. He has quickness. He has a very strong arm. And again, I like this at bat. I mean, he just laid off a high fastball where yesterday he was jumping all over that pitch. He's getting his emotions under control. That comes with experience and maturity.
That was his dad out there who talked with Scott Walker earlier. Had a big fastball by Drew Ehrlich. Beats him.
Now, it's interesting to see how Stanford, if they make any adjustments pitching to him, because I think right now they ought to experiment a little bit. The 2 balls he hit were out over the plate. He stayed back, drove him out to right field. Early in this at-bat, they came pounding him inside with a fastball. And as big as he is with his stroke, I think you've got to come inside to get him out. I don't think there's any question about it.
The 2-2 pitch coming from Drew Ehrlich. Down low, 3-2. So Stanford has the bottom of the 9th inning to try to make up a 5-run deficit. If they are unable to do that, they will have to change the uniforms and get back on the field very quickly to take on St. John's, who won earlier today in the opener of these games at 11 a.m. start here in Stanford, California. That'll happen approximately 1 hour after this game. That's about like playing a doubleheader on a regular day sometime on a Sunday. Pitch hit high in the air to center field. Coming in and then going back, Jim Rappaport makes the catch. And there's one away. So Tulowitzki retired, a 3-for-5 day though for him. Tulowitzki had a pretty good high school career. He hit over 500 twice his junior and senior year.
That's
on any level, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
In hardball. Now think about that.
That's pretty good.
He hit 519 as a junior. He hit 536 as a senior. That's pretty good.
It sure is. I tell you what, this game has taken the wind out of the sails of the Cardinal. I'm watching them bounce around. You know, early when things were going good, their infielders were bouncing around. They had the energy throwing the ball around. I see a lot of shuffling feet out there right now, and they're going to have to get themselves picked up a little bit.
Jason Vargas is the hitter. Nice stop made by the catcher. John Hestro came in to replace Donnie Lucy.
There's Mayberry on first, holding the runner. Johnny Ash. They're all kind of looking around, wondering what happened a little bit. They've got frowns on their faces.
Stanford came in on a roll and then routed Nevada, Las Vegas. Sometimes when your offense generates, energy for your team and you don't have a great offensive day, it seems like you're a little down in the dumps. It might not be the case, but it's different for a defensive team like Long Beach State. They can kind of hang around, not much happening, and somehow find a way to win. This pitch is fouled down the left field line and out of play.
Well, when you don't score runs and you're getting dominated by a pitcher, there are times when you look sluggish. But it's such a difference now from what we saw with the Stanford team earlier. I mean, the infielders just bounced around. It was that whole energy that really was part, I think, of what the crowd brought to them as well, being here at home. And that is going to be the challenge for them as this game finishes and if they do play later tonight.
Pitch taken down low by Vargas. The count goes to 3-1.
I think Mike Weathers going to be much happier with the bats he got out of his players today. I think they're working the count much calmer at the plate and taking what they get.
Some of the Stanford fans looking on. Long Beach State's put the Stanford fans back on their heels. This ball fouled down the left field line into that little picnic area. And nobody was able to make that play, Steve Phillips, but they get a little help. Well, you got to have the sun hat or some type of cap if you're going to watch baseball here in the Bay Area on a day like this. Just a gorgeous day. A lot of longtime Stanford fans on hand, and they've had a lot of success to watch over the years. Been in the regionals 22 of 24 seasons. This is an every year affair here.
You know, it's a credit to their recruiting program. We looked earlier. I mean, we asked the coach about his recruiting, and it's a national program. They get a different level of kid, and they scour the country to bring in the best talent and people.
Runner goes, and the ball is fouled down the left field line and curving out of play as Danny Putnam gives chase. So Vargas prolonging the at-bat. Counts full at 3-2. Well, Putnam's been shut down today. He went 0 for 4. Jed Lowry 0 for 4. John Mayberry Jr. 0 for 4. So Jeff Weaver has carved up the middle part of the Stanford lineup. 0 for 12 by the big three.
Very impressive.
Vargas, the designated hitter, has 1 hit in 4 tries. They throw over to first. We mentioned Weaver's ability to get into the 7th inning. He pitched at least into the 7th on 15 of his 17 starts. So he's a guy that will log innings and throw pitches. The runner goes here. Vargas chops it foul again. 1 away. John Bowker, who had the leadoff single, trying to get a head start.
Vargas in there battling still. Regardless of the score, he's given a pretty good at bat. You know, he's a guy, he went to LSU and then transferred out of there, went to Cypress Community College, and last year was the Junior College Player of the Year. Came to Long Beach, and they thought they were getting a pitcher, and he ended up turning it out to be their most productive offensive player.
Sometimes serendipity. The runner goes, and he fouls this one away. Well, giving chase with a scorebook, that slows you down. You can't always catch up to those kids. You got to carry your scorebook.
It's always great. The foul ball goes out down the left field line, and kids in the right field corner start sprinting around the stadium hoping to get a chance to get the ball.
Vargas grounds to second. There's the flip to short for 1 and the throw on to first for the double play. Lowry, Meinecker, and John Mayberry Jr. combining for a 4-6-3 inning ender here in the top of the 9th inning. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. They come in all sizes here in Stanford, California. Fans of the Cardinal. Right now, Stanford trailing 7-2 on CSTV. Welcome back to Stanford, California, where Stanford Cardinal fans still hanging in. Their team down 7-2. Would bring them out early, and they maintain Cardinal loyalties forever, as they are still standing by their team. Stanford, if they can't win this game, will have to play in an hour's time against St. John's in an elimination game. There's the Long Beach State dugout where Jared Weaver has put himself after 8 strong innings and a bundle of strikeouts. 8 total.
A dominating performance by the big man right here. One of the things we said in the beginning is he is the stud, but he has to be the stud today, and he absolutely was. Dominating fastball, took a little bit off there. Tell you what, a tremendous outing for the big man, and he did a great job. He threw 127 pitches, 80 for strikes, 47 balls, and 8 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, a walk, and 8 punch-outs. A very, very impressive outing, and when they needed to step up, and obviously a big game in the regional, but also against Stanford, a team that they have had a real problem beating in these big games, the big guy got it done. And I tell you what, it's a tremendous leadership effort on his part. And right now they need Jamison, though, to go out there and close the door, because what sometimes happens is when you've been stymied by a starting pitcher, all of a sudden you feel like, oh, we finally got him out of the game. It can happen, and you know what? You don't want it to happen. They need Jamison to go out there and be nails right now and just shut this thing down so Stanford doesn't get any momentum, because they may meet again tomorrow, and they want to leave a thought in Stanford's head that they just got shut down tonight.
Neil Jamison is on a record of 3-3, an ERA of 3.33. It's his 28th appearance. He has 12 saves on the year for Long Beach State, and And he will face Brian Hall. Hall has struck out, singled, and struck out against Jared Weaver. Weaver really tore up the bottom half of the Stanford order, striking out 5 players in the bottom 4. He got Donnie Lucy, the catcher, 3 times, and he got Brian Hall, who's hitting here, twice. So 5 of his 8 strikeouts came from the bottom half of the order. Jamison, another look. A right-hander fires, and that's in for a strike. Count 1-1. Well, you see a guy who's 6'7", who turns his back to you, and then you see this, Neil Jamison, and the Stanford hitters will have to adjust quickly. Pitch is high for a ball. 2-1.
Tell you, some credit should go to Troy Buckley, the pitching coach for Long Beach. He's done a fantastic job with his staff. I mean, they have not had many runs of support, and they played a lot of close games this year without much margin for error for the pitching staff, and they've gotten the job done.
Jamison's 2-1 is fouled off down the right field line. So Weaver, an 8-inning outing with 8 strikeouts. Now he's going to ice up. He's supposed to be a surfboarder. I don't know. He doesn't look like he takes his shirt off very often.
I think he's using 36 sunscreen or something when he's going out there.
36. Jamison pitched at Miami and got knocked around pretty good. Just got 2 outs in that game. Gave up 5 runs. Prior to that, a couple of outings at Cal State Fullerton. He took a loss, so he's had 2 losses in his last 3 outings. He's only had 1 save since the end of April. The pitch is hit into the gap in right center field, giving chase Boatwright and making the catch. Steve Velasco, who got a great jump on it, and Velasco records the first out of the 9th inning. It looked like it was headed to more right field, but it ended up in right center, and the catch made by Velasco, who is a very good defensive center fielder. He comes into the picture at the last second, slides down, and he makes the play.
It's a big first out right there. You don't want to give him any momentum. Get that first man down.
So the hitter is John Hester, the catcher who replaced Donnie Lucy. Lucy is 0 for 3 on the day, all strikeouts, as I mentioned. Neil Jamison is from San Diego, 6'3". He was an honorable mention All-American in 2002. Turned into a closer in 2004. As we mentioned, had a dozen saves. At one point this season, he went 8 outings without allowing a run. Total of 8 innings in that one. But lately, he has had some trouble. As we were talking about their bullpen, keeping the ball in the ballpark. Jamison gave up a game-winning home run to University of California, Santa Barbara in a loss that started May, and that kind of started him downhill a little bit. The month of May was not kind to Long Beach State. They went from 5th ranked in the country all the way down to 15, 16, 17, depending on which poll you're looking at. Here's the 1-2, and it's a check swing, and they punch him out. John Hester couldn't hold it up, and there's 2 down.
Here's the pitch, a hard slider away. Check the swing. And then they asked down to first base, and as usual, I don't know. That one,
I thought he checked his swing.
It usually looks like they swing. That one actually looked like he might have checked it.
Well, he didn't break his wrist. Do you buy that? The breaking wrist thing? I think that's fair.
Something
if
to
you
that.
Can hold up. If you can't hold up, your wrist break and you swing. Pitch in for a strike. I think that's the best way to look at that.
I'll tell you what, the thing that was more noticeable there was that slider from Jamison. We saw a little bit yesterday when he came in. That's a good hard slider he has.
Chris Carter, 0 for 3, flied to center, reached on an error, grounded back to first base. Hoffius made a nice play. Hard one shot. Oh, what a hop.
Tough hop.
Right through Sindlinger. And that almost took his head off. That's a base hit. I'll tell you, this infield is rock hard. You take some wicked hops.
That was a very, very hard hit ball right there. But as we noticed earlier, Singlinger plays very deep, and he actually plays on the outfield grass. I think this hits the lip of the grass right there, right? The clay grass right where it meets. It hit the lip and bounced right over his head. That's one of the problems when you do play that deep back on the grass right there. You're exposed to the ball hitting the lip. I don't like it. I'd rather just play that step in. Why give yourself a chance for a bad hop for an extra step?
Chris Meinecker is the hitter with a runner at first, 2 down to their last out, the Stanford Cardinal. First hit for the Cardinals since the 4th inning, and that one on a bad hop. Well, you played second base, right? Minor leagues
I did
for
play
7
second
years.
base.
Mostly second, or?
Second short, and then when I realized I wasn't very good, I played every position just to get in the lineup.
You became a utility man.
I did.
Very nice. Still 7 years in the minors. It's not easy.
Got to play with all the guys that played the big leagues for the Mets.
Did you really?
Yeah.
So they all remembered you, and you became a general manager.
Out in the front office, exactly right. I remember all those scouts. I read all the reports they wrote on me.
Any good ones?
I told them I held grudges when salary time came around. We were going to have to talk.
Now somehow I don't think that happened. But there are a lot of scouts on hand here, and they had to be impressed with Jared Weaver, who got through 8 innings by striking out 8, holding Stanford to 1 earned run. Neil Jamison trying to finish it off with 2 down and a runner at first. He fires, it's outside. Now it goes to 2-1.
Well, I think if it's possible,
3-1.
If it's possible for Jared Weaver's stock to go up, it even went up today because he really showed something. Showed what he was made of in a big game, in a big setting. Went after guys. He had some tough situations in the game. He battled through. Very impressive outing.
Pitches in for a strike. Count goes full, 3-2. Well, that's what you were wondering about before the game started. He took a big loss at Miami to end the regular season, had been unbeaten. Sometimes it's good to take a beating once in a while. It sort of wakes you up a little bit. So full count. 2 down in the bottom of the 9th inning. Long Beach State trying to finish off Stanford and put them in the loser's bracket. Jamison delivers, the runner goes. It's grounded through the hole and into left field for a base hit. Out of the grasp of Danny Mockney, and Stanford still alive. Chris Meinecker has his 2nd hit of the game, 3rd hit of the game.
So Meinecker's had a good ball game today for a guy who's not known as a hitter. Topped that one, hit the chopper, found the right hole getting through there. Infielders couldn't get to it. Now they have runners at 1st and 2nd. Never say die attitude, huh? Stanford University, college baseball.
Yeah, that's true. Earlier today around the country, there were a couple of good comebacks. As we look around at some of the games, a couple of teams were able to score late in games. North Carolina won a game with the runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. We saw that yesterday here with Long Beach State beating St. John's. .291 teams play Division I baseball in the United States. An elimination weekend, 64 began play in the regionals on Friday. 32 teams will be eliminated today, and then 16 will advance to the Super Regionals after play on Sunday. And it's an exciting time for college baseball. The Super Regionals, of course, will be followed by Omaha and the College World Series, which now has for a championship number 1 and 2 teams a best of 3. So rather than playing a round robin, they finish up with the best 2 out of 3 at Omaha. The hitter is Jim Rappaport, who replaced Sam Fuld in the top of the inning. He drops a bunt, charging Mockney. His throw on to first, and he draws Holthius off the base, and everybody's safe. A surprise bunt by Jim Rappaport loads the bases with 2 down in the 9th inning.
Good baseball play right there. Right now, Stanford needs base runners. They need some runs, but they need guys on base. And right now, they've cleared the lineup back up to the top of the order. Beautiful bunt base hit right there, and he can run a little bit.
Johnny Ash is the hitter. As Jamison has got himself into a jam. He's got a 5-run lead to work with, but 3 hits coming with 2 outs. Johnny Ash on the day 1 of 3, singled, walked, struck out, and then flied to left. That pitch is in there for a strike.
He needs to work ahead. I tell you what, it's, you know, we said it earlier, sometimes you take the ace out of the game and it's just what the other club needs. You open the door for them, they relax a little bit, say, well, we got the guy out there that we couldn't hit. Now everybody looks much more hittable than what Weaver did.
The 0-1 pitch coming to Johnny Ash. That pitch lined through the middle for a base hit. 1 run is in. Carter will score. Meinecker scores. And suddenly it's 7-4. Stanford can get the tying run to the plate with 2 outs in the 9th inning as Johnny Ash delivers 2 with a single.
Well, even if Stanford doesn't end up winning this ball game, this is what they need to get some momentum if they end up playing right after this, because they were shuffling their feet, looked down a little bit. Now you see some energy coming back to that Stanford Cardinal dugout. Line shot up the middle, not trying to do too much.
Jed Lowry is the hitter, and he has been shut out today, 0 for 4. But with 1 swing of the bat, he could tie this thing up. It's 7-4 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning. Stanford was down to their final out. Chris Carter got a bad hop single. Meinecker followed with a hit. Then Rappaport singled and Johnny Ash singled. 4 straight hits. Jamison set to deliver. He fires that one in for a strike. 0-1. It's never over. Wow. Until you get the 27th out.
I'll tell you what, and this guy's scary right here at the plate. He is some kind of offensive player. Where he's come from a year ago to where he is right now as a hitter is phenomenal. And he's been shut down all day, and the numbers indicate that he's due for a big base hit.
He's got 16 home runs, 67 runs batted in. The pitch to Lowry is on the outside corner for a strike, 0-2.
Boy, they've made some tough pitches to him today, and he had some tough calls on him. I'll tell you what, that was a tough pitch right there, outside corner. That 2-seam fastball, again, it's another pretty good 2-seamer.
So, Jamison, 0-2 with 2 outs to Jed Lowry. Danny Putnam's on deck. He's gone 0 for 4. John Mayberry Jr. in the hole. He's gone 0 for 4. The set and the pitch, and it's way outside for a ball, 1-2. The runners at first and second are Jim Rappaport and Johnny Ash. And the tying run is at the plate in Jed Lowry, but he's down on the count, 1-2. Here's the set from Jamison. And the pitch. Oh, he just missed outside, 2-2.
Ran it off the plate a little bit. Wow. Lowry has some guts taking that pitch. He's got called on it a couple times today and let that one go.
And that was as close as it gets. No, they didn't get the call.
Some umpiring going on from the dugouts right now.
Long Beach and Stanford, arch rivals, meeting for the 5th time since 1998 in a regional. Long Beach State has been denied time and time again by Stanford. 3 times Stanford's come through this regional and ended up in the College World Series in the last 4 years. Ended up runner-ups. Here's the 2-2 with 2 out. Jamison fires. It's hit in the air. The left center field and deep. Going back is Bowker, and he'll make the catch on the warning track, and that ends the game. Jed Lowry challenged the left center field gap, but Bowker was able to haul it in and end the game. Stanford with 2 runs and 4 hits and 2 runs left on. And the tying run at home plate now must play St. John's in an elimination game, while Long Beach State now moves to the winner's bracket and awaits their opponent tomorrow. The winner of the St. John's Stanford game will play Long Beach State tomorrow. Jared Weaver led the way. 8 innings, 8 strikeouts, 2 runs allowed, and Long Beach State can now exhale. This one almost went out.
I'll tell you what, he put a good swing on that ball and made a good run at trying to get it out of the ballpark there. Ball down away, pulled off of it a little bit, but just went off the end of the bat some. But boy, it looked like it got up in the wind and started carrying a little bit there. And A lot of celebrating. Look at that.
The Dirtbags finally can celebrate at Stanford. They've put Stanford into the loser's bracket in an elimination game. Neil Jamison. The Butterflies were starting to float around, but Jamison gets the final out. And Long Beach State wins for a second straight day. 7-4 today, 4-3 yesterday over St. John's.
Lowry made that swing, put that good swing on the ball, and there's a lot of hoping going on and hopping.
Oh, and there it was, just about 5 feet shy of a tie ball game. Long Beach State wins it, 7-4. Jared Weaver's 15th victory of the season against 1 loss. And we'll be back to Stanford, California to wrap it up. Dirtbag fans are happy the Beach has won it 7-4. We'll be back with more on CSTV. 7-4 the final. Long Beach State survives a major scare in the bottom of the 9th inning. Defeating Stanford, Long Beach State now moves on to Sunday. Stanford has to play a game here against St. John's, an elimination game coming up on CSTV in just about an hour. Scott Walker standing by with a couple of heroes of the game. Scott?
Absolutely. You know, so everyone talks about Jared Weaver, so we're not going to talk about him right now. We'll leave him for later. Troy Tulowitzki had 2 home runs, and we talked to Bobby Crosby here, who said he works out a lot with you in the offseason on your defense. But what about your offense? You were looking very Crosby-esque with a couple of home runs. How'd that go for you?
Just try to stick with our approach as a team. We're trying to go the opposite way. I mean, and that's about it. It worked. Just stayed relaxed up there, and everything felt good.
What is the confidence that you guys have as a team, having that guy Jared Weaver on the mound in a critical game like this one was?
I mean, if there's anybody I want on the mound in this kind of game, I mean, I told him before, it's Jared. I mean, he's a great pitcher, but I mean, we just feel so much more confident when he's on the mound.
Very good. Jared, for you, you had to bounce back from that Miami game. You came out and really shut them down early. What was the key for you to shutting down that to really balance Stanford attack?
I just had to locate my pitches. You know, that was the big thing. You know, coming into it, we know they were an aggressive ball club, and you know, it's just a matter of locating pitches. And you know, at the beginning, I kind of struggled leaving the ball up, and I just had to make an adjustment. And for the most part, you know, towards the later innings, I felt real good.
All right, so your command was good. Obviously, 8 strikeouts as well. Did you feel like you were able to overpower them some as well?
In the early innings, I think that, you know, they were kind of late on my fastball, and you know, I stuck with that approach. You know, just working everything off the fastball, and you know, it worked out good.
That being said, all right, you're guys in the winner's bracket. You get to go home here. How much of an advantage will that be coming into tomorrow?
We got a great advantage. You know, they got to beat us twice. We were in this predicament, you know, our freshman year, and you know, it was tough for us, and you know, I'm sure it's tough for them. We got a good guy in lefty, and Cesar Ramos is going to be, you know, just as good as we were today, and you know, we're pretty confident going into tomorrow.
Well, Jared Weaver done for this tournament, but Troy Tulowitzki can help out Long Beach State getting back to the College World Series for the first time in a few years, guys.
All right, thanks, Scott and Jared and Troy Tulowitzki and Steve Phillips. We talked about whether Jared Weaver could handle the pressure of a very, very important game, maybe the biggest game in his college career, and he did fairly well.
He absolutely did a fantastic job. Long Beach State is in a great position right now. They've got Cesar Ramos left, arguably their other #1 starter. Fresh, available tomorrow. Vargas could possibly help out tomorrow in the bullpen if necessary, and their bats are going. I mean, they've got the momentum offensively as well, which has been the thing that's held them back all year. They're set up and I think primed to go into tomorrow to try to pull this thing off. Stanford right now has to regroup. They have to get together. I think the rally at the end of the game was critical for them. Now they're not hanging their heads, shuffling their feet. They have some energy and some momentum to go into the second game and hopefully take on a very, very scrappy St. John's team.
2 runs late for Stanford, not enough. Long Beach State, 7 runs, 14 hits, an error. They left 7. Stanford, 4 runs, 9 hits, an error, and they left 8. Stanford has to come back in an hour to take on St. John's right here on CSTV. The final score, Long Beach State 7, Stanford 4. For Steve Phillips, Scott Walker, Kevin Stocker, and the rest of our CSTV crew, I'm Mike Crispino. Coming up just about an hour from now, it's Game 5 of the Palo Alto Regional. St. John's takes on Stanford to see who advances to Sunday's showdown with Long Beach State. For more college baseball scores, news, highlights, and analysis, go to collegesports.com. This has been a presentation of CSTV, #1 in college sports. Once again, the final score here, 7-4. More scores and highlights of what's going on around the country. We'll go back to the CSTV Fieldhouse in New York after these words.